Okay, I'll call the call to order the April 23rd special meeting of the Charter Revision Commission to order. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Well, good evening. Thank you for being here another day in April. Just a couple quick things, Chairman update. First off, I want to publicly thank Jen Carpenter once again for finding us a room for the 24th. We added another meeting, so Jen's been on like speed dial. Can you find us a room? Can you get us another room? Can you move us around? So publicly, thank you to Jen Carpenter for all her efforts. Just a quick reminder, this week, we have a meeting, obviously tonight, we have a meeting tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's meeting is specifically to talk about, well, anything we want to talk about, but specifically to have Michelle Gore here to talk about the WPCA and some of the recommendations, comments from the town attorney.
Well, one question and a comment. So tomorrow, is it here?
It is here, yes.
Yeah, good.
Yes, thanks to Jen,
Things, right?
it is still in this room, because apparently if you go upstairs, there's a whole different thing. Like, it's not just hitting a
yeah.
button, you gotta have a different, it's
It's a
a
pain.
big pain in the
It's
neck.
been an hour with Dave Kelly.
It is not easy, so this is very much appreciated.
Well, the
And-
other thing for tomorrow, I think the other key thing is we have to approve the final red line, right?
We do.
That's the other big thing.
Yeah, and that was gonna be my last point, is that our second public session is on May 1st, which of course is the week after. And at the end of tomorrow's meeting, when we get through everything, we'll take one final vote to approve the document for at least public session. If there are comments made at the public session, then we can incorporate those comments on our meeting, which is May 8th. And then after the May 8th meeting, we do have a meeting for the 12th, I think it is, which is one day before we are supposed to hand over the real document to Betsy. Yes, 5/13, we have to hand the draft report to town clerk. So if need be, 5/8 could be the final look at the document and the vote, if we need one more meeting to do that.
Who drafts the memo that goes with it? Don't we have to do like a report or something that goes with the? I remember that from 2022.
Yeah, there was, I'm glad you brought that up. I don't know. So there's supposed to be a crib notes or, what was the thing you used to get in?
Cliff notes?
Cliff notes, thank you, not, right. There's supposed to be a Cliff Notes version of what we did. I don't know if is that now, or if that's after the Board of Selectmen do their work in anticipation of the,
The changes, is that what you're?
I mean, I could put together a rough draft.
yeah, that would be great.
That's what, on the list of topics we've been reviewing, I've been categorizing them.
Yes, that would be great.
Vision of that.
Oh, that's great.
Start to, because I agree, we're gonna have to have some way to kind of make sense.
I thought there was something,
Just reading a red line.
right, and I thought there was something on here that taught that this is the list of our events and.
Mr. Chairman, can I
Yes,
comment on that?
please.
Sure. So whatever you're going to submit, like your report, whatever form it's going to take, obviously it's going to be the red line.
Yep.
If you're going to have some other document as well, that all has to be done by that, by the public hearing really is what you
Yep.
need to send to the public hearing is your final report. And then whatever that is can then get sent on to the Board of Selectmen. And it
So-
can be, it can be whatever form you want, like you have the red line, obviously. You have your chart that I think has been on the website this whole time, which outlines a bunch of things. The main thing that you need to make sure you do is comment on anything that the Board of Selectmen asks you to review. That may be incorporated in your red line, so.
And this has to be done by 5/1? By the time we go to the public session? I thought that had to be done before, I thought we had to submit to the Board of Selectmen what we're obliged to look at by the time we submit it on 5/12 or 5/13.
So you need to, what you're gonna send to the public hearing is your draft report. So.
That should be in advance of May 1, really, then,
Right.
right? So they can read it.
That's your draft report is what's being commented on that night, and then you can change it after that. You can expand it, you can,
But the draft report can just be the red line, can it not?
it can be. That could be the form of your report. But the only thing that you're required to do is, let's say the Board of Selectmen asks you to look at X,
Right.
and you accepted X and you put it into the document, then you sort of accomplish that in your red line. But if you rejected something or didn't want to do something, you do have to like at least comment on it in some fashion.
Does that report have to be voted on and approved by this commission? Not
At the
red
end of the
line?
day, like whatever you send to the Board of Selectmen, you know.
Right, but does that draft kind of report have to be officially approved before the 5/1 meeting?
I would think we could call that a draft, maybe, and I don't know. Oh, yeah, good question.
Yeah, I mean, that document's gonna be more of a, if you're gonna have a separate document, it's gonna be more of a summary.
Yeah, like, I'm talking about the summary part, the
Yeah.
summary, like,
I think you can vote on that after the public hearing.
The spreadsheet that you're using anyway, right? I mean, it really is.
right, but that's not a great thing to,
It's not a report, but.
right, it's not
We need a narrative.
easily
to it.
digestible if someone's kind of seen it for the first time. Because I could really, I mean, I'm not getting it done by tomorrow night, but this weekend I could draft something, is my point, so.
So I just want to be clear. So we've got, I thought there were only two documents that we had to formally respond to with comments. That was the document that the first selectman gave us, or the selectman, I should say, and the town clerk. So do we have to have a formal, I don't even know what to call it, a formal response to those two documents? And vote on that basically tomorrow? This is all kind of news to me.
I don't think we have to vote on that, that's what I'm hearing.
Voted though. I mean, we've talked about all those things and they're in the spreadsheet, how we voted.
No, I knew there's a requirement to go through each of the points of the first selectman and say, approved, approved, not considered, or voted against, or something like that. There were certain things in there that we didn't move forward on.
But we considered them, I think without.
They were all considered, right.
Right, so.
I would just, thank you, because I was just gonna say, I could very quickly tomorrow go through Bill's list and say, considered, included, consider, included, and then put a quick, when we didn't include it, why we didn't include it.
Yeah. I think we might have gone to some of his things, but not all the way, so we might have taken a part
Right.
of it, so.
And, I mean, that's not a problem for me to do tomorrow, before tomorrow night. Betsy's document. and for-
Requirement, the town clerk.
Just
and the
comment
selectmen.
on the selectmen's recommendations and the town clerk's recommendations, and have that ready to,
So it'll be also then Christine Vitale's, since she's a selectman?
no, they don't have to respond
I
to.
thought it was the Board of Selectmen.
It's right, so the Board of Selectmen adopted recommendations, that's what we have to respond to.
Right.
Christine's weren't adopted.
That incorporated the comments of the town clerk, those were recommended.
Right. If you look on our website, there's support data, and that support data, the two things we have to respond to are first selectman and town clerk charter
Yeah,
recommendation.
those are the only ones
That's
the Board of
it.
Selectmen voted on.
Yep.
Okay.
Everything else, and now, so just in response to, select person Vitale's comments were acted upon, in fact, and she knows the disposition. We don't have to answer those. Nor do I want to, nor do I really want to take on the task of responding to everyone's comments, because that would take more time. But so I can do that tomorrow.
So you'll do the formal response for the first selectman and the town clerk. And this weekend, I can kind of put together a draft, like an overall summary.
Perfect.
I wonder if we should say anywhere that we didn't necessarily consider and discuss every public comment we got, or something like that, because we didn't always, did we?
We've tried.
We've pretty much gone through
Yeah.
every public comment,
Yeah.
at least had a quick discussion.
There are some late breaking ones, whether, the last week, whether we get to those or
Yeah, I
not.
mean, if we get 10 tomorrow, that might be problematic, right?
Yeah, no, that's true, we did. I think at the beginning, we thought we wouldn't necessarily, but we ended up doing it, you're right.
Yeah. And then, shoot, what was I just gonna say? Oh, I've written up a short blurb to go into the First Selectman's newsletter, which will come out this Thursday, 24th, and it will point people to our brand new link that says draft charter, and that draft charter will have an updated, it has a document in there now, and it'll have an updated document, and then I guess we can upload the document that I create for tomorrow night, and then paper document. And then people can have the free reign of that 24/7, 365 till our meeting in the first.
And that, that'll include the reference to May 1st, right?
Yes.
I know I read it, but I forgot. Okay.
Yep.
Are we publicizing that any other way? I don't know if there is any other way.
I'm struggling with, I mean, I don't know what else to do,
Yeah.
you know, I thought the widest the widest distribution for people who might be interested would be Bill's newsletter. Yeah, I can't think of
We can announce
anything.
it at the RTM meeting and ask maybe representatives to spread the word.
Yeah, that would be
And
great.
Get more people than with our first
I
meeting.
mean, like Jen sends out, Leaper sends out a weekly email.
That's true.
Except Jen Leeper's email, is Jen Leeper completely Fairfield?
No.
Or she's,
No,
so it's
Jen
a,
is.
Jen is all
Kristen is.
Fairfield. I think she's the only state rep that's all Fairfield. Everyone else has another section, right?
You're right. So-
Sorry, I thought you meant she was all of Fairfield. You mean, or she's only within Fairfield?
Right, so,
But Kristen-
Sarah and,
Kristen.
Kristen have
Yeah, parts
other,
outside of it.
in Tony Wong, as
But
far
we
as.
still could
Yeah.
put it in there, right? That's a
Yeah.
good idea.
I feel like her email comes out like on Fridays, maybe?
Yeah,
That would be another way.
I can ask them to do that.
Yeah,
Put it on Moms of Fairfield.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm not on
geez.
Facebook
Get out
anymore,
there.
but that would definitely, yeah.
yeah. I won't opine on the moms or dad, the moms or dads of Fairfield. Okay, so that's it for me.
It looks like the last one came up the 17th.
Whatever you, wherever
Tomorrow,
you
maybe
can go.
Jen's email.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if you ping her tonight,
Yeah, I will.
How would we even do that?
Jen has the contacts. Jen Carter.
Well, Lisa Claire is our communications officer, so you
Right.
think she would be the,
So maybe Lisa, I believe that from Jen, before there was a communications officer.
I do have a question. So if Eric does part of it over the weekend, do we need to meet to approve it before it gets posted?
No, that's what we were talking about. I don't think we have to approve a summary. Like
I think,
vote-wise.
like, if you guys are gonna have a summary of the document that's separate from your report, I think that's something separate.
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Under the statute, what you're required to do is, in your reports, comment on each recommendation which it has been directed to consider, if any, and on such other changes or items. So if you're gonna prepare a summary of the ones you were directed to consider,
Yep.
and then that spreadsheet that you've been maintaining throughout, which is posted on your website,
Yep.
I think, based on my review of it from time to time, like, sort of goes through
it's
This
very
recommendation.
complete, yes.
this is what happened, and, you know, here's some rationale, so I think that accomplishes a lot of what you're talking about.
Okay, I mean, the draft would be good because we do have to create some summary
narrative.
document
Yeah,
that.
we just need a narrative to say, and we don't have that yet.
Exactly.
That's what yeah, so I don't think we have to vote on that.
Agree.
The only thing I was gonna do, just on publicizing it, like some neighbors down the street who were involved with, let's say, defeating the last charter revision, I was gonna reach out to them and encourage them to attend. Just to make sure they see
Yeah.
what's there,
Yeah.
just try to spread the word.
Okay, perfect. Agenda item 4, any discussion on previous topics? I don't have any. Agenda item 5, CRC attorney or town attorney inputs. We have none that haven't been fulfilled. I have on here to hear, consider, and approve the draft minutes of April 3rd, but I don't believe we have those, do we?
I didn't see them.
They were not in your backup. They were not. And frankly, I couldn't even find Prue's email that said, I saw her note that said, I'm not gonna be done with the 10th, but I did not even see a note from her about April 3rd.
They were in the backup. Now,
Oh,
technically, they weren't labeled minutes. She labeled them CRC 4.3.25.
okay, hold on.
So the
one
email
second.
I sent Monday,
So
the
in,
Word document that was attached to it, there were 4 PDFs.
so why aren't they in the packet, which is the backup?
Question. I don't know, actually. They were in the email that I sent to this group, but I actually didn't even look at the packet. So I just looked at the email I sent. So if they weren't in the packet, then yeah, you're probably right that you may not have to consider them.
If everyone's fine, I'm willing to open the email and take a quick look at them if we want to get that, or we can do them tomorrow night,
It
whichever.
also looks like there is a minutes link posted there on 4.3.
The minutes, though, that are there are the old ones. They don't have the corrections. I don't know if
We
that-
have not reviewed these. We haven't even reviewed these the first time.
Oh, okay.
Right. And Prue she sent an email today, she's hoping to finish the 4:10 meeting minutes tomorrow. So we possibly could have those, not obviously in time for a packet or anything, but.
Right. Whatever you guys like to do, I'm willing to go through it if we can read them on the screen, or we can push it to tomorrow night, whichever is more convenient. Or you know what, maybe what's best is maybe we can just leave this till 5/8. Because frankly, I mean, these aren't really, they're not really driving us, you know? I mean, we all the inputs that we've received have been funneled to Attorney Piers to be included, so. I'm okay moving it to meeting 5/8. Is that okay with everyone? Commissioner Blanco, you good with that?
I second the motion.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we'll skip agenda item number 6. Okay, agenda item 7, to review the latest charter revision document. So what I will do, so everyone got the current revision sent by Attorney Piers last week. So I'll go through, again, this should take a lot less than last time because there's not that many changes. But specifically, what we're going to be talking about tonight is there are new inputs that were received from the police chief, and there are new inputs that are received from my friend Ms. DeMarco, who's in attendance tonight.
Yeah, so this also incorporates the items that you voted on at your last meeting.
Yes, exactly.
So you can see how they were implemented.
Yes.
Also, in my cover email, I said that it did not include a draft of the WPCA
But it
changes.
does.
It does. I ended up, I sent the wrong version, I didn't take it out. I didn't want to send another version to confuse things further, but it includes an initial draft. I need to talk to Michelle about that.
Right, and that's what I was,
So
yeah.
I'm going to talk to her tomorrow
Okay.
morning. So I will have hopefully updated language for us to work off of in the meeting for you
Great.
guys to review.
So we will not review any data submitted by Ms. Gore or Mr. Marsilio tonight.
Yeah, so the WPCA section, I think you can skip for tonight.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I'll talk tomorrow.
So we'll go through section by section and then address specifically any changes, because I did go through and check all the changes from last time, so thank you very much for that. So this should be really quick, right?
Phil, you had several points, you had specific questions called out.
Yes, and we can go through those, right?
As we go. Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, here we go. Section 1.1, paragraph 1.2. Paragraph 1.3. If you have something to say, just stop me, please. Paragraph 1.4, our corrections were made there. Thank you very much. Section 1.4, page 3, under B, number 2, appointed by the Board of Select Persons. Article 2, 2.1. Commissioner Blanco, if you need something, just scream, okay, please?
Yeah, I'm following along with you, Chair.
Okay, great. Paragraph 2.2, paragraph 2.3. Under paragraph 2.3D, I know I brought this up last time. The town clerk's comments specifically deleted the words at the end "and qualified." Did you leave them in, Mr. Pierce, for a reason?
Did it delete qualified? Because if they're elected,
This is the discussion we had last time. Yeah, we said if they're elected, they're qualified, right?
There is a provision about how people are qualified, so, but it's always confusing every year. Like Betsy always wonders, okay, is
Betsy, is
election
it-
alone enough?
Betsy has always had a problem with elected and qualified.
Yeah.
And that's why she took qualified out, because now, I can show you,
but the problem I have, I guess, I maybe misinterpreted the request for the change. The problem is that they're not serving at the time that they're elected, because they have to be sworn in.
correct.
Right.
So that, I think, is when they're qualified. So the problem is that you don't want there to be a time when there's nobody who is actually serving, because even if they're,
Yeah.
if it
Can I ask
says-
a question? Can I ask a question, Chair? What
Yes.
is elected a defined term, Attorney Pierce?
No, it's not defined in the charter.
Right, so it's not a defined term. So on this application of elected and qualified, there, one is not dependent on the other. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think elected means just when the election is confirmed, the winners are declared. But that doesn't, but the person's not acting in the role because they're not sworn in yet.
So what's the qualified marker there? What's the metric there? then?
I think it includes like living in town. There, I'm trying to find the section.
But that's what I'm
Don't
trying,
you-
that's what I'm trying to say, Karen. Isn't it a precondition that has to be satisfied in order to be elected?
Yeah, I would think so.
I
You
mean,
better
yes,
So
I had
then-
it,
so then
we all
I
had
asked
approved,
this
we
now.
were Fairfield residents before
Yeah,
we
so-
we
Right,
got
so
on
then
it.
I asked the same question. It's not, so then Attorney Pierce, it's not a defined term then, right?
Correct.
But it's a
I
precondition.
don't think I deliberately left it in, but I.
Okay, fine.
So
I think
We
you've answered my
did,
question.
we did remove
All
it.
right, so we'll take it out.
It's,
Okay.
Chair, the only reason I was bringing it up, if it's a precondition for election, and you've stated the precondition, then it's, you're already qualified.
Yeah, no, I'm tracking you, no problem, so. Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
Just want to make sure I understand. The concern, though, I think I'm hearing is that we're defining the start of term of office as the third Monday in November. But we're saying it ends when their successors have been elected, which is the first Tuesday.
Yeah, I always assumed that qualified meant like sworn in, but maybe it doesn't mean that.
Yeah, I don't know.
My concern is that if you have the term, the new term doesn't start.
There's a 2-week gap.
Which is a problem because we need to have a legislative body.
Right, and your point is that's.
And there actually have been situations where there's been meetings called during that period.
yes, it has been, it was an organizational meeting called during that period.
Well, but not even that. When I was moderator, there was this thought of, do we need to actually call a meeting to do something?
Oh, yeah,
And it was like, I was the outgoing moderator and I was like, well, can we just let the.
yeah.
Just leave it for Karen when she
Yeah, right.
When she's moderator,
New
yeah.
lady will take care of it.
So, I mean, we have to have a.
Well, is it better to say it's sworn in? Because that's very, I mean, that feels like a very specific term for me rather than qualified,
I
right?
think that's clearer.
Okay.
What you're intending.
Well, then I'll make,
And sworn into office.
and sworn into office, okay. Well, I'll make a motion to change paragraph 2.3D, the last words from "and qualified" to "and sworn into office." Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wackerman. Any further discussion?
So just the swearing in, is that what happens on the third Monday in November? I heard it, you should, no, and I already got.
They come whenever they can, hopefully, not everybody doing it at once.
There's an official swearing in.
So there is.
mean, is that-
I don't, it doesn't happen before the term commences.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's that third Monday in November thing.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. That makes sense then.
Okay. Any further discussion?
What about, Mary makes a good point, because not everyone is sworn in at the swearing in ceremony. Like, sometimes people aren't sworn in immediately.
Right, but I think,
Right.
but back to your point, we can't have nobody, but I mean, I think the majority of people are either sworn in that day or they could be sworn in the
Right, I
day
guess you'd have
before.
a,
but
you'd have a quorum, I guess.
I think you, well, right? I mean,
Say it
I
again.
said, I think the majority of people do go to the swearing in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or are sworn in beforehand, like with the town clerk.
Right. And I think, I mean, it says the RTM will commence, so that the assumption is most of them at least will get sworn in by then, right? I guess, yeah, I think that's,
I feel like it's better than and qualified, because we, this is 2 meetings we've talked about and qualified. And it was a point, point of contention to, with our town clerk. So. Okay, any further discussion?
No, not by me.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. That is 600 for Prue when she does the meeting minutes. 2.4,
I think 5, right?
is there 5?
5, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
500. Oh, there's only 7 of us. I keep thinking there's 8 of us. Sorry, Prue, 500. Paragraph 2.4. Paragraph 2.5. Paragraph 2.6. That's a long one. And Article 3, 3.1. 2 points that were brought up by by our attorneys. Under 3.1A, in the chief of police recommendation, he asked that the distance be 35 miles rather than 25 miles.
35 miles within the town of Fairfield. And
So
you
that
guys
would be
have-
the
you guys have
border.
25 miles of the headquarters.
Which is what the last, well, I forget what the thing says
I
today.
was just pointing out that was a different request than what you had.
It's really even further than 10 miles.
So it's taking you right to the edge of every town and then going 35 miles.
I think I'm okay with that, but the thing that's haunting me is Long Island, because I used to live on Long Island. I know how long it takes to get to Long Island from, it could be easily 2.5 hours sometimes. So if we're really concerned about,
Contiguous lands.
yeah,
Thinking that, yeah.
I guess we're saying within 6 months, oh no, within 6 months they have to. yeah,
That's
maybe-
when they have to be within that 35 mile or 25 mile limit within 6 miles of that, within 6 months of them taking office.
Yeah. I mean, maybe other than Nassau and Suffolk County, New York? I don't know. New York City is
You could
fine.
say something like 35 driving miles.
Road miles, yeah.
Road
Yeah.
miles, probably a better way to say it, yeah.
That's right, that's true. Maybe I'd be more comfortable with that than,
You can't get to Long Island like around in 35
No, you
miles.
cannot.
no,
Yeah, it just-
unless you
You
take.
take the ferry? Well, you said driving now, so 35.
We said road, you corrected it to road, so I think road would be,
Is anywhere in New York within 25 miles of Fairfield?
Westchester.
Westchester is pretty close. It's probably just right there, right?
Probably about 25.
Yeah, no, I forget, I checked it.
but I don't think we were necessarily concerned if it got into an adjacent New York County. were we?
Yeah, I'm not concerned about that.
It's
It's
just the
more
Long
the
Island
time that I'm thinking about.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to lobby for this either way, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm just bring up the points that the police, the fire commissioner in her testimony said, well, we don't need, what do we really need? We don't need the chief to be here every time there's an emergency. If there's a real emergency, yes, we do need him here, or him or her, excuse me, in a specific time frame. But the way, the technology we have today and the leadership chain of command we have, there's plenty of people who can lead an incident or lead whatever. And then if there's a real need to have, something really happens, then that's that restriction. So
Well, if no one else is that concerned about the Long Island issue, I won't push for it. I just wanted to raise that.
I think that is, yeah, because we said radius and that's when we.
Yeah.
Rhode Island, and
I
that's
think
not
you
quite
might have
right.
raised Long Island as an issue, yeah.
And I don't know if you want to say, because road miles, the road goes like this, you know what I mean? So that's different than a straight line.
That's true, yeah.
So maybe it is land.
Take 35 miles to get to Norwalk if you go the wrong way. I mean, really, think about it, right?
Yeah,
So maybe land miles is better, yeah.
I'm looking for a motion here. I'm frankly, I'm more inclined to defer to the chief of police. But I don't want to lobby either way. I'll support the majority here for sure.
and I guess the police department or the town, if it becomes a problem, that the chief never can get there for an emergency, it would be addressed probably. So maybe.
I would assume so much. I'd like to think we wouldn't have that many emergencies that would require the person to be here, but, you know. Commissioner Blanco, you have a unique perspective on this. Would you like to add any color here?
Yeah, look, I think that the PD is manned 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In the event that it raises to the level that bureau commanders or the assistant chief or chief, I think by then it's handled and the chief is on its way, right? Not so concerned about that. I think this was more along the lines of giving opportunities for others, right, that may not want to take the position because Fairfield's expensive to live in. Right? That was the kind of the ethos behind the commentary.
I think that is certainly one of the drivers, and Ms. Simpson, our HR director, did bring up a point that, you know, we're not just doing this because we're, you know, trying to recruit outside Connecticut. We'd rather have a nice broad selection of people to choose from rather than just people that live within Fairfield or are willing to move here within 6 months. So that is a good point.
I guess the way I'm thinking about what the fire commission originally proposed was no limit. I don't like that.
Right.
We didn't like, and I also agree, I don't really like the whole contiguous county piece because that takes you really far away.
Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Long Island, I mean, every island, yeah, right.
Too far.
Yeah.
I feel like if we're allowing them to live outside of Fairfield, I think 25 or 35 is irrelevant.
I'm with you.
We're gonna take the heat from.
It's 10 minutes.
Who would rather it be only Fairfield.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
That's true. I forgot we are changing it from, they had to be a Fairfield
Right.
resident.
Yeah, well, yes, you had to be a resident, right, and an elector,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So,
So I'd probably leave
Yeah.
it to 35 if that's both, it's closer to what fire commission is desiring.
yeah,
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I do think if something like excluding Long Island, I do think that's a fair point, like excluding Long Island or land miles, whatever that
right.
proper term would be.
Yeah, so you bring up an excellent point. We've debated this for so many times that we may have forgotten where, so let me just read where we are today. Persons serving as the chief of police or fire chief must be or become an elector of the town within 6 months after they take office, period. So we have come quite a way from, someone has to be one of our neighbors to 25 miles, right? I am in total agreement that no limit is not acceptable. I'm also in agreement that contiguous counties is kind of pushing it to the state lines. I mean, literally to the state lines, almost on every side, except for the ocean side, right? So, and again, I also agree that 25, 35, you know, is a pretty small change.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we might as well go with what the police commissioner or.
Yeah, I think I can be okay with that.
So what was the exact language? 35 miles
35
from
miles
the.
of the town of Fairfield, so it's
Okay.
You want a
would be
motion
measured
for it?
from, I guess, the closest border of the town that would apply to that,
Right.
where that person lives,
Got it.
versus the location of the headquarters.
Should we be that specific about the closest sport? I think that's what people would
I
assume.
think that's what it means.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah,
It
right.
refers to the town as a whole, and it's gonna be measured from the town as a whole, so.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion, paragraph 3.1A, to change the words 25 miles of the police department headquarters or fire department headquarters respectively to within 35 miles of the town of Fairfield, comma, and we've already added within 6 months after they take office. Seconded by Commissioner Wackerman. Any further discussion?
That doesn't address Long Island.
Right.
So do we want to add land? You know, modifying miles with land, is the question. Or is that just like splitting hairs?
Well, how do you
I think
feel
we're
about
splitting
it?
hairs a little bit.
I'm probably willing to give on it, assuming that smart minds will deal with it if it becomes a problem.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay. Any further discussion? None seen? All in favor?
I
500 approved. That has been approved. 3.1D, the question was, the Golf Commission currently is that you can serve one term. I recall our conversations that we did want to allow them to have 2 terms. So what that would mean to me is that that entire section that we've already deleted, we would then include the deletion of section 10.1, whatever that turns into, with respect to the Golf Commission.
Yeah, so, it just wasn't updated in the draft, so
Yeah.
but I'll make sure to fix that.
That's my memory too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this discussion was, why would we have any, well, in my apologies for not getting through that document, that huge spreadsheet that I spent so much time on, we never used. But one of the things was, why should any commission or anything else be different than anyone else? Why should you have different requirements to be voted in? Why should you have any difference voting out, and why should your terms be? So I'll make a motion, paragraph 3.1D, to remove the words section 10.17 as modified with respect to the Golf Commission be removed.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wackerman. Any further discussion?
Just a question though. So the Golf Commission though was 5 years. And so, is that the longest?
No, well, what about the board, the library trustees are have like a life sentence.
Well, that's 3 years now.
Yeah, oh, we changed it, yeah.
It'd be 3 and 3, so 6. So I guess my question is, are we okay
Oh,
with?
with a 10-year session?
10-year, which does seem long.
Is that the only one that's?
I guess I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
That is that is a fair point.
I think the library was 6 and we changed it.
The library was 6 and then we bumped it up.
Board of Finance is 6, but I know that's.
Right, but that's
Yeah,
elected.
elected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do we want to change the term of the Golf Commission to 3 years and then? Yeah, they get one more year than they got now, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But I think also the second one, the voting one, still has the board of library trustees, which we don't.
No, it's been removed.
Okay. So really from accept on would be deleted, I guess.
In
No
everything from in section 10.15 to the word Golf Commission. would be-
Actually, Fire Commission, no, so Fire and Police Commission are 5 years. Yeah, actually, there are a number, actually. So that would not be unusual then, sorry. If we're,
I'm okay, somebody dedicating their life to the Golf Commission for 10 years if they so inclined.
so because broadly, we're saying that you can do 2 terms.
On any commission,
Successive.
on any commission, that's right. That's what removing, I think I'm correct, right? That removing that one sentence, because it says up top, no person shall be appointed to more than 2 successive things, and then there's an except, you know.
And then the current rule on golf was that you couldn't be reappointed
Right.
until you had been off for a year.
Right,
So it was one
Well,
term.
actually, for 5 years.
one
Well,
term,
right, in your earlier draft, you
Okay.
had reduced that to 1.
Got it, okay.
You're right, in the original charter,
Yeah.
it's 5 years.
Yeah.
In the current charter. In the charter, there's only one charter right now. Thank you very much. Okay, I think I have a motion and a second on this, do I not? Or did I not make a motion? Yes, I did make a motion. And I have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I
500, Prue. 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, 3.6. 4.1, thank you very much for that update on legal counsel. 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, 4.5.
Just a question, actually, maybe on 4.3.
Sure.
Oh, that's the note, never mind, that's too early, that's the that's referring to meetings, not the posting of, the publishing on newspapers, sorry.
Yes.
Never mind, I'll hold up.
4.5, 4.6. Article 5, 5.1, sorry.
Does have the newspaper thing.
Yes, and our town attorney told me that because I wanted to remove it from the Board of Finance requirement to post, and we have to leave it in.
It's a state law.
Yes.
I mean, the only question there was, we know there is language, I don't know if it was Branford or where, but that essentially allowed that to be changed if the law is changed. That
State
is
law
something that
changes.
we discussed.
Betsy would like it if we did that, because then as soon as the law changed, she wouldn't have to.
Right, if we go back to the intern research. That was in one of these.
Well, in lieu of newspaper, where would we post it?
On the website.
Probably would be a website, I would assume, is
Would we say website and newspaper, blah, 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 unless the law changes or something?
Yeah, and like unless the law, right, right.
We don't say the website,
That's true.
so I think we should add that.
Yeah, you're right. Any action of the RTM adopting, amended, or repealing an ordinance to be maybe first, say, posted on the town website? No?
I mean, that's the practice. I don't know that you need to put it in the charter.
Okay.
Oh, so, the Hamden was the example, sorry, not Brantford. So, that Hamden says, where public notice, in addition to other modes of availability, requires posting on the town website or through other electronic media, and only requires posting in a newspaper if practicable or if otherwise required by law.
Okay.
So essentially, if it's then not required by law, then it goes away. So I would say, do we adopt some sort of Hamden-like language that meets the current state law, but then if that is changed, allows us to stop publishing in the newspaper?
Yeah.
But still has a requirement to post it somewhere.
Sorry, the word is or if otherwise required by law, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. In this last paragraph here.
Or we could be specific in this one, like, or,
Or if otherwise required by law. Okay.
say unless, the state, rescinds its obligation to,
But that's,
Well, that's what that does.
Will that do that?
yeah, you're right.
So, I'm fine, we'll do this in two spots. I'll make a motion to add the words, or if otherwise required by law, to paragraph 4.5 after,
well, no, or more than that. You said post on the town website.
Right, I think the
I think
change would
that's what-
be that,
I want to get the actual Hamden language.
right, I think the change without, not the exact language, but conceptually would be, we're requiring it to be posted on the website or other electronic media. And if it's required by law, you must post it in a newspaper. So that we're stating. the
make it a
requirement.
requirement, you have to put it on the website. The only requirement we have today is a newspaper. Now we're adding a new requirement that it has to be on the website.
Yeah, I kind of think it should be in there. I know you're right, Phil, that it is done, but I think it should be a requirement.
Then otherwise, there's no requirement to post.
Yeah, we have to
If
put-
you're doing it this way, I agree. It needs to be
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah, so conceptually, require the website, and we state that it's only required in a newspaper if
Got
it's required by law.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Oh, I didn't finish my motion, so I don't have to do anything. We can find the right words.
Do you want to just copy and paste to an email? There's so many things to look up when we're doing this.
Thank goodness for that smart intern.
Okay. Bill, are you getting the actual language?
Yeah, so it's not specific to ordinances, it's just on public notice generally. I think it's just in their definition section.
So is there something that says I don't know what section we're under. We're under
So it says,
legislative meetings.
it requires public notice to be posted at the office of the town clerk or other public space in town hall designated by the town clerk, the central town library, on the town website, and if otherwise required by law, by publication in a newspaper of general circulation distributed in the town.
Now, 4.3D, we did remove, and a copy of such notice shall be published before the meeting in a newspaper, and we did add posted on town's website.
Is that,
Right, but that wasn't what wasn't required.
That's when what's
That was not required.
that was no
That's
state
meeting.
statute?
Yeah, that's meetings, no, that's what I'm saying. Somebody said, are we talking about meetings, okay?
Okay.
But we've already set the precedent that, we've already talked about the town website, posting something there. Now we're saying, not only are we gonna post the meetings there, we're gonna post the action of the RTM to adopt an ordinance on the website, okay?
What if we were to pass a sense of the body, have them write the language, and then we approve it tomorrow, like the actual language? Would that work?
Sure.
You guys write it by
The
tomorrow?
concept is that it's posted on the town website and then it's, if otherwise required by law, it's published in the newspaper.
Yeah, but essentially, if that law changes, not requiring newspaper publishing, then the town clerk could just not publish it on the website, or sorry, not publish in a newspaper, but still publish on the website.
So what do we do with this one then? Do we keep the newspaper publication in there, or will this kind of say if it ceases to be required?
If required by law.
This would give the town the flexibility to not do it if that
Law
law
change.
changes.
I'm fine if Phil wants to draft it for tomorrow evening. How are we, so we're gonna get a new document tomorrow. Right, Phil, before the meeting?
Live
I mean,
changes.
I'm close to having it right now, hold on.
Okay. I don't wanna kill another tree printing this one more time.
So what I've done is I just added that after the language, after the adjournment of the meeting at which the action was taken. So this is published in proper summary form within 1 week after the adjournment of the meeting at which this action was taken on the town's website, and if otherwise required by the general statutes, which is what we call the law and the charter, in a newspaper having general circulation in the town.
Perfect.
Perfect. And we can vote on that tomorrow night, because that will that also go in that section of the Board of Finance that I wanted to change, Phil? That we said we couldn't
We
change?
can, yes, we can do that.
Okay.
Can we just vote on that now?
We don't have it. We don't have the language in front of us.
We can still vote on
You
it.
did,
and
yeah.
then- I mean,
You proposed
Okay.
language, I mean,
Okay, I didn't propose any language, but I mean,
he did.
I'll move, and you can.
what Phil said?
What Phil said.
I make a motion to do what Phil said. And do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Treshik. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
500 approved. Thank you, Phil, for doing that. Okay, Article 5, 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 5.4. 6.1, thank you for making the change in C to add by ordinance. We're still in that section. Thank you for adding the compensation portion. I guess, so 6.1H, just maybe for full disclosure, we asked the town attorney and our CRC attorney to put in some words in 6.1H regarding compensation, and we asked them to basically state what the current process is. So it now says, any change to the compensation of the members of the Board of Selectmen, select persons, excuse me, including the first select person, shall be determined by a select person compensation committee appointed by the Board of Select Persons and composed of one Republican on the Board of Finance, one Democrat on the Board of Finance, one Republican on the RTM, one Democrat on the RTM. Compensation in quotes shall include all payments, wages, salary, benefits, health insurance, cost sharing, health insurance cost sharing. Is that one word, health insurance
I
cost
think it's
sharing?
one.
I think it's one.
That's the,
I
that's
think it's
how
one
the-
term as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, comma, health insurance cost sharing, comma, or any other remuneration of any form. Any changes made to the compensation of the members of the Board of Select Persons, Board of Select Person,
There's a typo there, I'll fix that.
including the first select person, shall only apply to future terms and shall not apply to the current term. So I think that's perfect for me. I don't think we have to take any other action because we've already taken the action.
A question, do we say Republican and Democrat in other parts of the
We
charter? or
actually say,
major
we say a member of each party or something
Well,
along those lines, right?
it's really, it's political party is what we use, but
Right.
this process has been specific to have one member of each party from each board.
Right, no, I agree, but should we just say, could we be consistent with the rest of the charter and say one member of each political party?
I don't think that would be consistent with the process the town's followed.
And the way parties are
Because
now.
because
right?
there's any number of parties in town. I mean, there's just two that have most of the registered voters.
Yeah. What happens if you're
I
an,
think it
what happens if
provides-
you're voted onto a board and you're unaffiliated? Does that preclude you from being on this?
Or independent.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, that's what I meant, independent, sorry, unaffiliated. I guess,
independent.
aren't they the same?
No,
Unaffiliated's the right term, right?
Yeah.
No,
Independent's a
there's two
party.
different.
Oh, really?
It's rare that
Yeah.
somebody, I don't think, I mean, it's very rare for somebody to be unaffiliated and be elected. Usually they.
No,
Minor
I'm
party,
not saying it's not, yeah.
right? I mean,
No, you could be unaffiliated.
you can be, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
More times than most people get elected and then say, ugh, I want to be unaffiliated.
I mean, sometimes a party might run an unaffiliated, they might
Right,
be elected on the line.
but they're still affiliated, they're affiliated with a party even if they're not that way by
So
name.
they
this would-
themselves are still not.
But this would
at
apply
heart.
to their registration status.
Right.
Right.
That's just their.
I think, Eric. because
I'm not worried about it, I'm
I
just
think
kind of
they're
more
like
curious.
The majority parties, and the select persons are probably almost certainly in the majority parties, then it's good. But then if at some point in the future, if there's more, parties grow, we might want to rethink it.
I
That's
think,
exactly where I'm going, right?
Yeah.
I think it's really important to keep it this way because it makes sure that board is politically balanced.
Oh, and I'm not trying to change the balance
Yeah, 'cause
on
if
this.
you-
You're just trying to make it consistent with other language.
We've used that term political party and there was somebody from the.
The Green Party.
Family party.
Yeah, or family
or
party, right?
The
Some other party, independent
Independent
party, you
Yeah.
could have a board of selectmen use that person to skew the balance of the board.
That's
Because
right.
they may be aligned with one party more than the other. So this, I think, ensures political balance, which is what the town has followed.
I'm fine deferring to the town attorney, frankly.
I mean, this is just consistent with the practice that the
Yep.
town's followed. You guys could decide to change that practice.
No, I'm okay with it, personally. If
Any
things
motion to be
change in the
made?
future, but-
And we do, I think in the section on redistricting, I think there might be similar language, because this is,
I don't remember there could be.
let me say from each.
I don't want to quote from memory anymore, so.
10% thing.
Do we need a motion to approve that, or we're?
No. So we made a motion that we would ask the town attorney to draft words. If we would, as far as I'm concerned, he did what we said and we're all good with it, so I say we move on.
Okay.
6.2, thank you for the updates in section 7 and 8, appreciate that. Also, thank you for the compensation. Now, the only thing the compensation says here is go back to 6.1H because rather than doing that whole thing again, we just pointed it backwards, which I think is good. 6.3. Article 7, 7.1.
Oh, wait, there's on 6.3, there's a logistical problem, I think, where if somebody, so say someone leaves the Board of Selectmen after 1 year, and someone's assigned, then this says that person has to run in
In the next election.
Yeah.
What if the person left in like May of the election year? There's not enough, like at some point, there's gonna be another candidate running. It'll be too late for this person to run, kind of. So I'm just logistically, time-wise, I'm not sure how that works. Maybe we could say, if possible, or something like that, but.
Oh, shall stand, your point is,
They
I
can't
mean, if
pass
you
it.
resign 2 weeks before the election, there's, no,
You
what
don't
are
need
you
them
gonna
to
do?
run again
You-
anyway.
You don't need him to run again anyway, right?
So
But-
maybe we should say like during the first year and a half of the term or something like that. First 18 months, because I know that's getting specific, but otherwise it'll seem to be a requirement, but they won't be able to run.
So you're saying, instead of saying any select person appointed pursuant to section 6.3B during the first 1.5 years of the
Yeah.
term,
is the concern that if select person resigns early enough, someone's appointed in, but early enough where then there could be primaried, essentially, you're saying? There could be a primary, and then that person could not stand because they lost the primary?
Or they might have actually, there's state deadlines about when you have to have a candidate.
you have to put your
Right,
candidate
the
paper in by
ballots
July
are set in, like,
1st.
September.
Yeah.
You can't be added at that point, so if
Well-
somebody resigned in September, for example, I think it's too late to get on the ballot, but the charter would compel them to stand for election, so I think it's.
Listen, you could game any of this. You could you could make 2 years in one day and then wait for the election and then say, oh, by the way, I'm resigning. And then you get a free ride for the next 2 years as a political appointee. So
It's been done for
Yes.
4 years
how,
even, or 3
how,
years.
how many times? I can't even count how many times.
Oh, really?
In my 16 years, yes. Board of Finance happens all the time.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
I mean, not-
I'm thinking Board of Selectmen, but yeah, you're right.
At least once in my memory of the Board of Selectmen,
Mm-hmm.
yes, maybe twice.
So maybe could we say like during the first 20 months or the first year and a half or something like that? I mean, we won't really care if the replacement serves 2 years and 6 months versus 2 years.
But that's only for resignation. What if someone dies? No control over that. So.
Yeah, true, but then they still shouldn't.
This just deals with vacancies.
This is only vacancies, this is not death, there's a provision in here, talks about, early on in the office, if you, in another section, it does say something about,
Well, death is a vacancy.
You're
Yeah,
right.
this is the method of filling vacancies on the board, so it applies to
Oh.
any vacancy.
Yeah.
So I think that addresses Karen's point.
You mean
Right.
changing the
Yeah,
the
we change
date?
it to 18 months. I think that addresses the point you're making.
Is that okay with people? I move that we change 2 years in section 6.3B to 18 months.
I'll second that motion. Is there any further discussion on the motion?
So to make sure I understand it then, so then the gaming would be that they resign in June, whatever, that's just outside the 6 months, or the 18 months, I mean to say. And then that replacement could then serve.
It's a 2.5-year free ride without having being elected.
Without having to be elected.
Right. Better than now, at least.
Yeah, it's better than now, okay.
Now well, right, now it's a 4-year free ride. I mean, well, I mean, practically not, but I mean, it could be 3 years. Yeah.
Okay, so,
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. 500 approved. Article 7. 7.1. 7.2. 8.1, thank you for the change, that was correct. 8 point,
I just noticed something, so 6.3B, I'm sorry to go back there, but it references chapter, it says if the vacancy is not filled within 30 days, it shall be filled in accordance with the procedure set forth in chapter 146 of the general statutes for filling vacancies in the office of, and it was changed to select person. I think that's one where we need to keep it select man, because I'm sure the statute doesn't say select person.
so you're saying,
Okay,
Yeah, it's-
oh,
so the very last sentence, last word there, okay.
oh, okay. Even though we say otherwise, we say places in the document that select person is, I guess we say more or less synonymous with
we could just
selectmen,
say-
but that's only for ordinances, right?
The sentence isn't necessarily referring to your board, it's referring to a statutory
statute.
Yeah, yeah.
procedure for filling office of selectman.
So we're-
My concern is if we refer to a position that's not in the statute.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
If
So,
they're all lowercase, then that also.
so we're gonna call it the office of select man. We're gonna leave that word in place.
Because that's
Usually
still how the
references
general
the statute.
statute.
Yep.
Okay. Got it. Makes sense.
Okay, good. Okay, 8.2. 8.3, we just need to justify that to the left, please, that paragraph.
Which one needs to be justified?
The title 8.3 Board of
Oh, yeah,
Finance,
yeah.
just justify to the left, please. 8.4, 8.5, 8.6. Now, just so we're all clear, 9.1, the number 25 was added. A general manager of the Water Pollution Control Authority will hold any comments on that until we speak about the Water Pollution Control Authority tomorrow.
Qualifications.
Except to the intent that the town is not a town employee.
Elected and qualified, okay.
Yeah, right.
Right,
Yeah.
wrong thing, okay.
Yep. 9
Just
point,
a question on the qualifications. I think the unfortunate reality is that today, the job descriptions do not all exist.
Yeah.
Is that a problem? Do we need to provide almost a transition period, or that's not a problem?
for job descriptions?
Yeah, there aren't.
Right,
there aren't
because they
any
don't
jobs
exist
descriptions.
today, right?
Right.
In all cases.
I'll go on record as saying it, because I was asked this question earlier in private. I intend the charter to force the creation
Oh,
of
no,
job
I
descriptions.
agree with that.
So once ours is completely approved in November, then guess what? I guess people are gonna write a lot of job descriptions.
I also think for the officers that are town employees, I think there are job descriptions.
Got it.
For
There-
the
there
vast
are-
majority of them, there's
Okay.
job
I
descriptions.
think there are,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, there might be a couple
So
that
not
don't
an
have
issue
them,
then,
but-
got it.
Also, if an opening comes up and there's no job description, they would.
They have to-
That-
Right, it
And
has
that's
to
why
be-
there is at least some form of a job description for all the employee positions like that.
9.2, I just want to make sure I'm clear. The first select person shall appoint the town officers listed in 1 through 13. Is that correct?
That's what you guys have.
Yeah, I don't know, but that wasn't changed by us.
Well, you guys
You
have.
changed A to L to 1 to 13. So that's correct, right? Everything up to 13 is a,
The change would be that we added a COO.
Yep.
got it. Thank you. Got it.
And that
Perfect.
is
Yep.
important.
We had to add, the reason it changed from letters to numbers is that you guys added B.
Yep.
So we had to have an A and a
Oh,
B, and then
yeah.
the subpart to A could no longer.
No longer be a, yep.
It had to be numbers.
I'm totally good. Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay, 9.2, got that. 9.3, we spoke about this the last time, but this is the first time that we were talking about it. This is one of the first job descriptions that says, and shall serve until removal, retirement, or resignation. The town attorney is a little bit different than the rest, and we'll address that, so that's good. 9.4 is the first time we'll see the job title. In this particular case, the assistant town attorney may be removed without cause by the first select person and shall serve until removal, retirement, or resignation. So we're gonna see that in the other ones. As far as I'm concerned, they're all done correctly, but I just wanted to point that out. 9.5. 9.6.
Well, 9.5 is the first one we're seeing a whole qualifications piece.
Yeah.
Right, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, oh, sorry, thank you for bringing it up. 9.5 is the first time we're seeing section 9.1B of the charter. That was in our last discussion, no?
Yeah.
The
Well,
only
then-
thing that wasn't, the only thing that wasn't in last time, 9.1B was there, but the 3 Rs as I recall, right, it wasn't, so, but good point. 9.7 we're going to review on 424. Are we in agreement with that? That is part of the changes, yes? Director of Public Works?
No, I don't think she suggested changes on that.
Okay.
These are the changes you guys have already discussed.
Great. So 9.7. So we just crossed that off. 9.8. 9.9. 9.10, Ms. DeMarco. Boy, you've been sitting through this, please, I should have offered sooner, I'm so sorry.
It's fine, it's interesting.
Thank you for sitting through all the sausage making, now we get to make your sausage now. So 9.10,
Right, well, first, I apologize for all the iterations. You saw in the explanation,
there's a lot going on.
there was, and there are changes that are very positive for the town, so I appreciate you considering the last iteration.
Okay, let me,
Chair, I'll be right back. Just give me.
okay. Let me pop this up on the screen, maybe make it a little bit easier to have a conversation.
And this draft has Mr. Marco's input, right?
The
Yes.
most recent.
The one that is posted on the website does have Ms. DeMarco's. Yes.
Which is the 16th, right? That one we're dealing with, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Let me just get us there. I was more courteous, I would have gone there first, but, sorry to say I wasn't.
You do a lot of extra work.
Okay, so up on our screen, up on the big screen, let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. Kind of have do you need it even a little bigger? Would that help?
Yeah.
So the select person, that's outside of your control, Julie. In accordance with qualifications established pursuant to the provision of 9.1, what that means is we've added a section 9.1B that says anybody who wants to become the Director of Human Social Services, if they, when you retire after a long, gracious career, they're gonna have to go to the Human Resources Department and find a job description to replace you, so. Director may be removed without cause, that was a recent addition. So
And that's all the department heads?
all department heads,
Except internal auditor, right? There's a
except for internal auditor, we sheltered that person from possible, Possible.
Got it.
yeah. Are these your changes? I don't know which is which, so.
I think that the change really was to 3. And
Okay,
the
yep.
change in the name of the commission, I believe the current suggested name of the commission is Human Services and Disabilities Commission.
Okay,
No. Just putting it right back to Human Services Commission, because the chair of the
Okay.
commission was concerned that calling out just one additional population when there are so many others,
Got it.
is kind of a mixed message, and I would agree with that.
so we're gonna,
So you, your input, you've talked to Mr. Schwartz?
I have, the whole
Good,
commission.
oh, so then
Yep.
that all reflects the whole
This-
group.
Exactly, yes.
this is a culmination of the input that was originally submitted, the commission's submission, and then a culmination of the.
Excellent.
Exactly, yes.
So the only change that you see, you would remove and disabilities from number 4, and you would remove and disabilities from number 5, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes. I really apologize for all those changes.
Oh, no, this is not your fault at all. I'd rather have 3 inputs than no inputs, to be perfectly honest. Okay. I'll make a motion to accept all the changes made by Ms. DeMarco and her commission on paragraph 9.10, but removing under number 4 and the words "and disabilities," and under number 5, the words "and disabilities."
second.
Commissioner Treshik seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
500. Do you have another section here that was modified? I'll jump right to that right now.
10
Yeah, 10.16 is the new 10.16. Or no, new 10.15, it was 10.16.
Appreciate you bumping it there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have done it sooner, Julie. I'm sorry. 10.1. Sorry, 10.1,
5.
10.15.
Oh, 10 point, thank you. Thank
I
you
had
for
to
helping me
think that
with my
through.
math. I'm looking for the subparagraph 5 and,
Here it is, yes, okay. So we're gonna have to change the end disabilities piece.
Yeah, I'm-
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
let's see, that's 10.4. 9. This is all the WPCA stuff. Let's see here. There it is. It's 10.15, so we're going to take out and disabilities up here, right? So Human Services Commission and Department of Human and Social Services. That is correct, yes? Sorry, let me get that on my piece of paper so I don't.
And I did notice under B that there was a reference to Board of Selectmen, I've fixed that to Board of Select Persons.
Got it, thank you. So, and disabilities, and social services. Board of Select Persons, thank you. Now, one of the things that, and I don't think this was your addition, I think this was our addition. The commission shall consist of 9 members appointed by the Board of Select Persons and confirmed by a majority vote of the RTM. That's new.
Oh, okay.
So we've made it consistent that everybody's going to the, Betsy said, she says, "What are you doing to me?" I said, "Live with it, it's consistency." So I just want to make sure you understand, because that's not part of your change. I'll put it before us. I'm going to make a motion to accept in its entirety the inputs from Ms. DeMarco on the new 10.15 Human Services Commission and Department, striking in paragraph A, paragraph B, which needs to be put in there, and in the title, removing the words "and disabilities." Oh, and, sorry. No, you added, and everything else you added. Do I have a second to put this for us to consider?
Mary second.
Commissioner Hope. Any further discussion on any of the
Maybe
words?
just a question to Ms. DeMarco, and I don't have an issue with this, but I'm more kind of referring back to your point on striking and disability. The sentence that then specifically says, "The commission shall ensure that all social services are designed and delivered to promote accessibility, inclusion, and full participation for individuals with disabilities." So it's specifically calling out disabilities there.
It would be under that umbrella, yes.
Because you had a group already doing that, right? So
Right.
Yeah.
We had a temporary commission on disabilities that expires in December this year. And that will be absorbed back into human services. It was taken out before, and now it's.
So that's why it's important to call it out specifically
Yes,
in that case.
exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Got it.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Blanco, you good?
You nodded.
He did not? Okay, great. Phil, just under powers and duties, that should have a B.
Yes, I caught that.
Got it, okay, I know. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 500, Prue.
We good?
I think we're good.
Thanks for
Thank you
bumping
for
that up.
being here. Thank you for
Thanks,
so
and I'm
much.
sorry again for all those.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now that she's gone, we can change anything we want. 9.11. 9.12. 9.13. 9.14. The newly numbered,
I'm
Sorry?
just going back and I'm taking a while
Okay.
to find it.
No, I'm trying to catch up with 109 stuff.
Yeah, I'm still in
We're back
10.
on 9, yes. I gotta go find my.
9/11.
we're on page 33, if that helps you.
9.11 and 12 even.
9.12 is the, yes, community and economic development, which the only change there was the
That's standard.
standard triple Rs and the removal without cause. Okay, 9.13. 9.14 is the addition of our chief operating officer. The newly numbered 9.15, which correctly identifies and adds the Water Pollution Control Authority a general manager as number 25, so that's good. The newly numbered 9.16. Thank you for making
I
the,
think 9:15, I think there was a typo. I think it was, it'd say 16 through 25 of section 9.9.
I think you're, no, I thought you, yeah, the other one was 1 through 13.
Right, but isn't 14?
14 is the internal auditor.
Oh, no, oh, you're right. I thought 14 was the COO.
Nope, 14, nope. No, 13 was added in the last one.
Yep, got it.
So
Okay.
14 through 25 is correct, right? 9.16, internal auditor, thank you for the changes under A. That was where we changed, that the internal auditor may only be removed for cause, which is the only one in here. And we also correctly updated under B, the reporting of issues to be, we added Board of Finance.
On the removal for cause, for the internal auditor, do we need to specify any type of vote for the board to remove that person?
By the Board of Selectmen.
Just assume the majority vote?
So that would be dictated by the earlier provision in the charter on removal. So that's,
Thought it was a majority vote.
I don't think it is a majority. I think it's unanimous.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
It is, that's 3.6 of the charter. Oh, no, it's not. It is, 3.6B was unanimous. 3.6A, which is all that's left,
Unanimous.
is majority. You guys are right. Because it just says removed for cause by the appointing officer or board.
Do we need to reference that in the internal auditor, or is that not necessary?
I wouldn't think so, but
I don't think so. It just lays out the process.
it applies to everybody.
I thought the only unanimous was the ethics. I thought we removed that.
That's for appointment. That was only a unanimous for appointment.
But that was the only unanimous vote that I remember.
Yeah, that, right,
So
yep.
there shouldn't be any
Yeah.
unanimous vote, is what I'm asking.
I think that's right.
I think that's correct too, yeah. The newly numbered 917, newly numbered 918. The newly numbered 919. And just remember, I just want to make sure I recall. We removed the term limit, right? Because we had originally said 2 years, and then I think last time we removed the term limit. Is that
Because we were
correct?
told that there's not,
There was no reason to have a term
We
limit.
have to give a term limit for the tree warden, right?
Got it.
Term, limit to the length of the term.
I couldn't remember that, but I thought this was, okay. The newly numbered 920, the newly numbered 9.21. The newly numbered 922. Now, this would have the input from no, there is no change here from the fire chief's input. Sorry, the chief of police's input.
You mean like the 35-mile one that's a different section, right?
Right, that's the commission,
Oh, yeah.
and I think yeah.
So on 920, that number range, I do think it has to be updated to be,
920?
yeah. Sections 9 point, I think it should be sections 9.21 through 28.
oh, right.
Because that's.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
so
the-
Q through W is also wrong. It's not Q through W anymore, it's
Oh,
numbered.
correct. Yes, I'll fix that. Good point.
So Q would be 17 if it correlates.
Q would be 18.
I'm about to congratulate you
18s are,
on that.
18s are, he's wrong. O is 15, I guarantee it.
But based on what we added it when.
Oh, we added the COO, yeah, okay.
So based on the position.
So what's the right number, 18 through 24?
25.
18 through 25.
And then you'll change the name.
Shall be appointed on sections 920 through 926. Those numbers are different.
Should be 21 through 26.
And Phil, the removal, the 3.6 whatever A or whatever it was again for the removal clause, that refers to the appointing board. So.
Yes,
Or officer,
28.
yeah.
So then the fire commission and the police commission are covered here. Got it. Okay.
Well, really, I mean, that section really only applies at this point. Let me see what that. I mean, that's removal for cause. I mean, you actually could get rid of 3.6 at this point. It only applies to the internal auditor, as you guys have revised the charter.
Yeah, because everything else is specifically called out for cause or not cause now, right?
Yeah.
So 3.6,
I mean, you could,
I hate the fact you guys keep dragging me backwards, but I'm willing to go back a little.
Make it simplify things. I must say, I know of tree wardens that have been fired for political reasons, so,
Really?
yeah.
No, I don't really want to remove this because this, I believe, gives the ability to remove appointed board members or
well, you
commission
do, well,
members.
that's true. You don't want to remove it in total because
Right.
it applies more than just officers, right?
Yes, we want the ability for non-participating
Oh, yeah.
board
Oh,
members
yeah.
to be booted.
Oh, yeah, right.
Right.
Okay. So the newly numbered 920 is now going to read, the town officers listed in items 18 through 25 of section 9.1 shall be appointed by the body specified in sections 9.21 through 9.28 of this charter. Okay. 9.21. 9.22.
I didn't notice this previously. There's a statute, there's a just cause requirement for removal of a police chief under Connecticut law,
Okay?
which is why you generally have a contract for a period of years for police chiefs, because otherwise it's difficult to remove them.
Okay. So you're saying that we cannot say we can remove him without cause?
Yeah, it's General Statute 7-278.
But that's only police, not on fire.
That's police. Yeah, it's a special requirement for police chiefs.
Do we have a global thing saying this is all subject to contracts?
Yeah, there was an addition made, yeah.
So we should make,
I wouldn't make it
It's
without
removed.
cause.
The chief of police?
You want to remove without cause, yes? Is that what you said?
No.
Right.
So should it say the chief of police?
See how that could be
shall
confusing.
serve-
I know, like, whoop.
Yeah, go ahead, Mary. I mean, yeah, Karen. sorry.
The chief of police shall serve until removal, retirement, or resignation. Should that be what this sentence
Right,
says?
and then it'll just revert back to whatever those requirements are.
So,
for removal.
shouldn't we say that it's
Connecticut General
cause
Statute.
and not leave it blank? You're saying,
Like may only be removed for just cause?
or just, or may only be removed for cause?
Right. You can say that,
So it's,
or,
So it has to be removed for cause under Connecticut General Statutes, blah, 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 blah.
well,
I don't think you need to lay all that
Oh, you don't?
out,
Okay.
but you can't say removed without cause.
so what you can change is the chief of police may be removed for cause.
For
by the
cause,
police
yep.
commission.
So just take out with it, without, and make it for.
You don't want to say per state statute, just so people reading it know why that's called out.
Well, it's all under the police accountability law.
Oh, okay.
So I think Chair asked me to do that earlier, Chair, right? I think
Yep.
you can't make it less prescriptive. You have to make it more prescriptive.
More prescriptive, right?
Right. So, and I don't think it's a big deal. I don't know if the first selectman, I think the police commission is relegated to that supervisory outside of the spectrum of the first selectman. I think that's in the statute.
So do we have to take out approval of the first selectman?
I think so. I mean, I think Attorney Pierce, I think it's statutory. I
And
don't
it's
know.
only the police commission?
Yeah, under the police
Chief of police.
accountability. It's a police accountability.
You don't have to, police commission, so it depends on. the-
So you're saying that we should change the words to may be removed for cause by the police commission,
Yeah,
not with the approval of the first selectman.
Well,
Yeah.
but also who appoints, is that, have to change too?
Yeah, is it
yeah.
only?
The fire commission chair does not have a statutory requirement, right? the police does. There's post standards, there's a bunch of standards that they have to apply to, relative to appointing any police. I'm sure the chief follows. I mean, I don't know the statute exactly, but that's what I recall.
Okay, can we get the words?
Yeah, we're looking at it now.
Do you think
Well, I
that?
think it's general statute 7.3, 7.4. It goes on. What was it, right? Like 3 weeks ago, Chair, that we articulated that together, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Different purpose, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's this distinction that the fire commission does not have a statutory requirement or requirements, but the police commission does.
Is that
That's
true
what I
for
recall.
hiring as well, or just firing?
Well, well, there's a union contract too there, right? So you have to, you know,
For the chief?
no, the chief is a
No.
contract. The chief is a
We're only talking
contract.
about chief of police, right?
Yeah, the chief is a contract,
And
but
is-
it's all under the statutes, right? You know, he's a police officer as well.
Okay, so I
We
need,
should just look at it again. It's fine.
need to
we,
look
we,
at the
we, we
statute.
need words, right? That's the,
Yeah.
is that what you're looking at, Jason?
I would suggest too that we say may only be removed for cause, because saying he may be removed for cause still leaves the question of could he be removed without cause? So I think
May only be removed for cause by the police commission.
And then the general statement of the contracts still apply. Like the end of the contract, they could choose not to renew the contract.
Correct.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah.
Even if there's no
Yeah.
cause issues.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that wouldn't be cause at that point. That'd be the extent, you know, the end of the term.
Are you gonna check on whether it's only the police commission that hires the chief with that, and you don't need the approval of the first selectman? I don't know. I think that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I understand.
Hiring and firing is only the police commission?
I think that's something we'd want to look into, because my understanding is towns are not required to have police commissions.
No, that's correct.
I know this. 'cause
No, I think, Phil, I've gone through this, and I think the statute says that it's established a commission. I've gone through this with Jamie, my chair. I think it established the commission.
What established the commission?
It's a statute.
But Jason's saying towns are not statutorily required to have a police commission. So it depends on what powers you vested the police commission with. That's his point, I think.
But we're,
Yeah,
we have one.
Right.
I mean, I can tell
It
you,
depends on the powers that.
I thought we went through this and that we had to have a police commission. That was the last thing I remember talking about.
Yeah.
From the police accountability, maybe there's some confusion there.
I had some personal experience with this. So my town, we just created a police department last year, 2 years ago. And this was it's a huge debate in town, continues to be a huge debate. Do we have a police commission or not have a police commission? We chose not to have one for now. So and this is, we'll look into it further. My understanding is you don't have to have a police commission.
Okay.
You have one here, right? You do have a police commission.
In our charter.
A lot of towns in the state of Connecticut don't have police commissions. A lot of towns do. And there's really no rhyme or reason to, like, there's, some do, some don't, and then there's varying levels of authority given to them and who appoints and who's.
So maybe the question is, if we do have a police commission, are there state statutes about what?
What they have to do.
If you do have a.
Yeah.
What do they do?
So are you gonna give us input for tomorrow's meeting? Is that correct? Because it has to be about tomorrow's meeting.
So I guess the question is, you want to know, if you have a police commission, is that police commission required to be the entity the sole entity that appoints and dismisses?
Right.
Right? And then if the answer to that is no, are you looking to just have it the way it is, where it's police commission and first selectman? And you can change that. I mean, that's up to you. You certainly can change that if you wanted to just be the police commission.
Kind of like having a second person.
I was gonna say, I think, it kind of gets back a little bit to the whole parking authority thing we're all debating in social media. And I don't like the words when people say a bunch of volunteers, because I think a bunch of volunteers do a lot of good work in this town. Like all of us sitting in this room right now, well, except for two people, but. It is nice to have another set of eyes on it, so I would agree with you that I think having the first selectman in this process of appointing and possibly removing is better than not.
I agree.
Wait,
I agree.
Unless it's not allowed, but yeah.
unless it's not allowed,
Yeah.
then we. But I think if it's allowed, I'd say we should leave both.
Mhm. Yeah.
So could we get that that ruling by tomorrow night, or are we pretty clear on it right now to make a?
Yeah, we'll
Okay, we'll look at it tomorrow night.
Yeah, great.
9.23. 9.24. 9.25. 9.26. 9.27. Section 9.28 is brand new and is the general manager of the Water Pollution Control Utility, and we will review that tomorrow.
And is this the language or?
These are Ms. Gore's inputs, yes?
Yeah, with like some just
I know, I,
modest words there, but yeah.
okay. And I know, Mr. Marcelli had some behind the scenes, they consolidated their inputs, so.
Okay, great.
Okay, we're gonna jump to Article 10. 10.1.
We need to change human services.
Yeah.
Yep, we do. We're taking out and disabilities, are we not?
Correct.
So I make a motion, 10.1A13 to remove the words "and disabilities."
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Treshik. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
500 approved. We are still on that section. 10.2. 10.3. 10.4 was deleted. The newly numbered 10.4 is the Police Commission and Department. This is where Chief Calamaris gave us some inputs.
So the only input here was the
6, yeah?
6, which was
D6.
Yeah, and so I think when I talked to Jason about that, we looked at the statute, and the statute talks about an ordinance of the legislative body, so that's why we flagged that.
I don't like the idea of the police commission being the civilian police review board. I think they have very different purposes, and the police commission, is kind of part of the police department almost, and the civilian police review board should be more objective. No offense at all to you, Dan.
None taken. None taken.
So I really feel strongly that that should be separate from the police commission.
I'm gonna share that real quick.
Does that exist today, or is
No.
that something new?
No,
I think it'd be good to have. I feel a lot of people would like that, but we don't have one now.
And is that a new, general statute or something that requires it?
Nothing requires
I
it.
think the ability to create one is part of the Police Accountability Act, I think.
So now we're allowed to create
Yeah,
one.
I think that's what.
And, okay,
I think it would be controversial probably to create one, but I don't
I
think it should be
think,
the.
I think if the town's gonna create one, I think it should have more process and go through an ordinance probably.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, this doesn't feel like something that.
Doesn't feel
no
like it
respect
should be
to
in
any
the
of my
charter.
fellow doesn't feel like anything that 7 commissioners should
Yeah.
be making.
I
This
totally,
is a big
I
decision.
totally respect what Karen said. I
Absolutely.
agree. I respect that 100%. There should be transparency, but I think that I agree with Attorney Pierce. That should be an ordinance.
Yeah.
And let's remember the 2 reasons we're doing this, or the two goals. One of them is it should be able to pass, and this.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And it ain't broke, don't fix it. Thank you very much. But this could be quite controversial. Not that I'm trying to stay away from controversy, but
Well, I think
Is this the one thing?
controversy, I think, would be doing it in this way.
agree.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We-
I don't think everyone
couldn't
would love
agree.
to have this. Putting it in here
I agree.
and 7 people voting on it, I feel
No.
would be a little
Yeah, it
controversial.
shouldn't be that way, you're totally right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think that's a good point. It should be an ordinance.
So we want to strike, so So let me make a motion on the newly numbered 10.4, Police Commission and Department, to strike in its entirety, I think it's the new number 6.
Yeah,
10.4B6, all right, with the section that says serve as a civilian review board. Second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wackerman. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 500, Prue. That was the only substantive change that Chief Calamir's
To
made?
that section.
To that section, okay, good, thank you. The newly numbered 10.5. Thank you for the change, we did just make sure we're all, because I think this is an important change. On B1, we changed supervision to oversight, so I think that's very important.
Sorry, this is on 10.
This is 10, newly numbered 10.5,
Oh, yeah, I see that.
B1.
Yep, I got it.
No, I'm just saying it went in there just as we had asked for, so thank you.
Got it.
The newly numbered 10.6. The newly numbered 10.7. Newly numbered 10.8
Sorry,
has to
just,
change the disability.
Sorry, I was going through 10.5 again. So we want the and after on 10.5, B2. There's an and,
Yep,
we want that.
yes.
Because you're listing all the things the fire commission can
And-
do.
And 3 is the last one.
Three's the last, right,
Fair
that's a
commissions were to strike the
semicolon.
last
Yep.
two.
So then that, okay, the semicolon's not, okay, and 10, and B1, the semicolon's still there. Got it. Okay.
So 3 maybe should be.
Okay.
3 should be a
Right.
period, yeah.
Three should be a period, that's actually right, yeah, that's a good point.
I'm just trying to.
And
make
4 and
that
5 were
follow.
deleted,
Got it.
so.
Now I get it. Okay.
Where's the part about that DPW director and that engineering?
That was back,
About 10 sections ago.
that was
is
in there.
That's in the position of
Is it-
DPW director.
Well, just 'cause I don't see any engineering in the description of DPW. I'm just really breezing.
It doesn't use the word engineering, but
Okay.
In-
There was a
I mean, it
section
deals
that
with-
calls out the town engineer.
Right.
But it deals with, construction, reconstruction, care,
Okay.
operations.
Yeah, existing, so 9.7B3 specifically signs, so it talks about a town engineer and states.
He
the
has to be a
requirement of
PE. Right.
3, did you say?
Yeah, 9.7B3. Under the Director of Public Works.
Oh, no, and I'm looking at 10,
Yeah.
sorry. Yep.
Yeah, so that is, I did check that. It's in there.
Okay. No, I know, but when I was just looking at the description of DPW, it didn't use the word engineer.
Got it. So I think the department in this case, got it, okay.
That's why I was just curious.
Okay, the newly numbered 10.8, we have to remove and disabilities twice.
10.8.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Board of Health and Public Health Department designates or
Correct.
describes the Human
Yep.
Services Commission. So I guess I'll make a quick motion. Motion 10.8A, remove the words and % disabilities in 2 locations in under section A.
Second.
second.
By Commissioner Wackerman. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye,
500, approved. The newly numbered 10.9. The newly numbered 10.10. The newly numbered 10.11.
Yeah.
The newly numbered 10.12 is the
One minor point on 10.11 expires, say
Yep.
singular.
I just got that too, yep.
more than 2 terms expire. Okay, got it. Thank you. The newly numbered 10.12 is WPCA, which we will discuss tomorrow night. That is more than a couple pages.
Yeah.
The newly numbered 10.13, Historic Commission. Newly numbered 10.14.
Another 5 years.
Oh, really?
I can see them all over.
Yeah, there are a lot more. I just
Yeah.
didn't realize that.
This is the big one too.
And this is the
Do
one-
we, I think in the Ethics Commission, is that the only commission that we now have no term limit for? I know that was, you kind of wanted that, but I'm wondering,
I'm sorry, which commission?
ethics?
Well, they have the same term limit as
They
everybody.
have a term limit.
Where's that?
In that earlier section of the charter that talks about how many consecutive terms.
Oh, that's right, it had those
It's
few
just-
exceptions.
It's just, you guys just made the general apply to everybody.
Right.
Now, Phil, 10.14 is the Ethics Commission. Oh, 10.15, never mind. The newly numbered 10.15, we just went through with Ms. DeMarco.
But there was something about the policy and ordinance and the whole thing, is that related to the commission? Or is that?
The ethics, you're saying? For ethics?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's covered in B in that section.
Okay. Because we're in a bridge to get there.
The newly numbered 10.16. Now, our attorneys added all of this language, which I greatly appreciate because doing this math would make my freaking head hurt. And I'm assuming it's all correct. I don't even want to go through it, but what it does, just for the public, is it takes us through, because we went from a 6-year term to a staggered 3-year term. Now we have to go through a rigorous process of when's the next time. So for example, on or about July 1st of 2027, one member shall be appointed to a 2-year term. And then you're going to do that again in 28 and 29 and 30. So you really don't get to where you want to be until, if this is correct, 2031. In 2031, we will be in a situation where the Board of Trustees is all, and let's see, 2031, well,
We're not even gonna
we
think
certainly,
about that.
we certainly are gonna be doing the charter before then, so. But I seriously, I do appreciate all that math, that's.
In that section, the library B, section B,
Yep.
the limit on 2 terms and then a lapse of a year, is that necessary?
No person shall serve 2 full 3-year terms as trustee?
No, we can just delete that.
Because it's
we've
covered in
standardized
the-
it, yep.
Yeah, it's covered in the standard one.
We don't need to say, you're saying we say it in A and B, is that what you're saying?
No,
No,
in
it's
the
in the
general.
early, it's.
Oh,
Standardized
yep.
it, so you don't need
Good
to.
point.
So
So
that
what,
whole sentence maybe?
so what would we remove, I'm sorry?
From no person to term of office, that entire sentence.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to, on paragraph 10.16, newly number, Board of Library Trustees, B, to remove the last sentence, which starts with no person who has served and ends with that person's term of office.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Kreshik. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0, oh, sorry, Commissioner Blanco. 5-0-0 approved. We're still on that section. 10.18, Golf Commission.
And we already addressed the
Yep.
term thing.
Just want to make sure. 10.7, yep.
So should
that's
we
right.
delete that last sentence, maybe? I'll make a motion to delete the last sentence of 10.17A.
Second.
Got it. Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. 5-0-0 approved. Article 11, 11-1, 11-2, 11-3, 11-4, 11-5, 11-6, the changes we put in place in our last meeting were correctly put in. Thank you very much. Article 12, 12.1, 12.2, 12.3, 12, this is 12.3C. Phil, we're gonna put in that same language about website and newspaper of general circulation and all that?
Already, yep.
Okay, add, thank you. Okay. 12.4, 12.5, 12.6, 12.7, 12.8, 12.9. Article 13, 13.1, 13.2. Article 14. Now, the last, I have to break out my other copy. The last time the discussion we had on this was, the town attorney had made a very, very eloquent single sentence that I thought encapsulated everything by saying, the town shall adopt by ordinance or make such changes or replacements desired by amendment to such ordinance a town seal. I thought that was gonna be the end of it, but there's other, do we need? Well, two things. I think it should say the town may adopt an ordinance rather than shall, right?
That's fine.
And do we need all the other language, from July 1st, 1935 and all that?
Well, that's the official seal right now. So I
Okay,
think we should leave that. We could delete, we can have it, the sentence end after 1935 and then delete the rest of that sentence.
if it's our lawyer's opinion, it should be in there. I just want to make sure it's just a little bit different than what I thought we voted on, but
Well, in other words, we only have one town seal.
The thing is, that is the seal right now.
absolutely.
So I think it should, to give the town the authority to replace it, I think we should reference that seal.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, then,
Didn't say anything like, and any subsequent seal, I guess this.
Well, that's what, the language that we had made at the last meeting was, or make such changes or replacements as desired by amendment to such ordinance. So that gives us the flexibility to not just do it once.
so if we changed it next year and the charter still said 1935, that doesn't mean we couldn't change it the year after.
Correct.
All
And
right,
then I don't know whether you have to, the said seal shall be filed with the office of the Secretary of State by the town clerk.
That's a statute, right?
I'm fine leaving it if
Leave
you,
it in, I think that has to happen, so.
Yeah, I think it's a statute.
so I'll make a motion, paragraph 14.1, change the word from the town shall to the town may.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wackerman. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
500 approve. 14.2, 14.3. 14.4 is our recommendation of 10 years, which I love. 14.5, this charge shall be submitted to, got it, okay. So that's the right date, right? November 4th, 2025, Phil? It says 14.5, that shall be submitted to the electors of the town at a general election to be held November 4th, 2025. Voting shall. Got it.
Just a question on the periodic review. Is a charter revision commission, is that statutorily defined somewhere? Or is that just like, it must
There's
be?
a whole bunch of rules around it, and I don't, unless somebody made it up. I mean, there are a whole bunch of rules that we're complying with, so I'm assuming there is something, yes.
It says the charter may be amended in the manner prescribed by the general statutes, and then B is,
Do the general statutes like define a charter revision process and all that? Okay.
That's the thing that says you have to have a public meeting, and then you have to have another public
So
meeting.
essentially, the fact that we're saying they shall appoint a charter revision commission. that
Kinda redundant.
Essentially kind of goes back to the statutes to define
what
what that
says follow
is.
the statutes.
And it's kind of redundant, I guess. Okay.
I think there's one thing back in, well, unless, if we're done with that, there's one thing back in 2.1 that Phil.
Okay, let's do that, now, which is,
Oh, way back.
the appendices at the back of the charter have been removed as they were talking about changes from 2006. Okay,
No,
so-
actually, it's 10.16. It refers to the treasurer.
10.16.
And then there's, I think, an earlier point where he said, in 2022, the CRC suggested that the fiscal officer.
Oh, I didn't see that, I apologize. 10.15.
10.16.
Okay,
actually.
page 56. 22 CRC had the fiscal officer, not the treasurer, as ex officio.
Treasurer
Isn't it the
doesn't-
treasurer today?
It is the treasurer today, but this was the old draft of the last charter revision.
Yeah, I think the discussion in the meeting was, you were talking about what was done before. So I'm not advocating for it, I'm just pointing out that that's what they had in that draft of the charter. Just So.
The last commission changed treasurer to fiscal officer as the ex officio member.
Yes.
But did they remove the treasurer function?
I don't know, they may.
I think they did. So hold on, I can go real quick.
That would make sense then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Because the treasurer is only ex officio here because of when you go to section D, and it talks about the private funds, there's quite a lot of money in the Board of Library Trustees. So let me just make sure that I'm not
We never
remembering.
talked about the treasurer, and that's a whole other long discussion probably, but it does seem kind of like a funny role.
It is very, I gotta tell you, I didn't know for many years that we had a treasurer.
Yeah, I just happen to know the treasurer or know who what was before Helen, I think. Oh, I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah. Let me see here. I don't know where it would be. It would probably be under appointed officers, right, Phil? Is the treasurer an appointed officer? So that's 37. Let me just start there. I have some recollection that. Okay, nope, it's in
No,
here,
still there, yeah.
it's in there, 7.5. Town treasurer shall be appointed by the first select person and may be removed without cause. Okay. Well, so hold on, so it says that, so let me go to the,
Should we just say,
let me go to the real charter. Where it says town treasurer.
But what
30 days after
they do say is the town,
say that, so.
the fiscal officer may also serve as the town treasurer.
Oh.
So essentially, they can dual hat in the 22 revision.
And what's the function of the treasurer?
Well, it says the town treasurer shall have the duties conferred on town treasurers by chapter 94 of the general statutes.
Oh,
The treasurer may be full-time, or maybe part-time, just in case you were wondering.
Interesting. That's kind of an interesting idea, like the whole, like combine the roles.
Yeah.
Or give the ability to combine the roles.
yeah.
Because otherwise, that would not be allowed, right, because of the whole single office.
Oh, this does say, in 9.6, it does say the fiscal officer will serve
Oh,
as the
in the current.
treasurer. Yeah.
Oh,
it's on
okay,
our-
well, then what do you know?
ours. Yeah, I didn't know
Okay,
that.
okay, I missed that.
One other point I just wanted to make, so 14.5, there was a blank about when this shall take effect.
Yeah.
So rather than have it be blank, Jason and I just looked at the statute, and the default rule in the statute is that it's 30 days after approval. So our suggestion is, you can pick a different date, but our suggestion is just to have it say,
December.
rather than take effect in accordance with law or something like that, just say take effect 30 days after approval. Perfect.
Oh, okay, 30 days.
So I
And approval means a positive referendum, yeah?
And well, it says, the charter or such portions thereof as may be approved.
Okay, 30 days after approval. Okay.
But I think on the question of the board of library trustees, I think we leave it as treasurer.
Yeah, I think you can do that.
Yeah, because again, 9.6 says the fiscal officer can be the treasurer. Shall have, just make sure it's still in there.
Yeah, it is.
The fiscal officer may also serve town treasurer, yeah. there something else you had in section 2.1?
So if we changed it to this full officer, it was another reference to the library board of trustees. But if we're leaving it as treasurer, we don't have to.
We're done.
We're done.
Um,
No, we're not.
I hate when you do that, Jason. I say we're done, at least give me something here.
One item, I hate to go back to this, but back to elected and qualified in section 2.3. Just wanted to raise one thing that I was thinking about as we were sitting here. And I looked at a bunch of statutes, and those terms, that term appears in a lot of statutes, elected and qualified.
Okay.
So as I was thinking about it, it says that the term commences on the third Monday in November, right? And then
Yes.
you serve until your successor has been elected and qualified. You can't just say elected because then you have that, 3-week.
Period between elected and sworn in, right?
But then I was thinking, it says elected and sworn in, so someone's elected, decides not to take the oath. Does that mean that you want that prior term to just go on indefinitely? And what I think qualified could mean in this instance, and it's not defined anywhere in the statutes, is you're not actually, like you can't actually serve until your term commences. So you're elected and qualified on the date that it commences. So if you, like at that point in time, a term ends, a new term starts. If this person doesn't want to take office, fine, but that old person is still done.
Jason, the qualified is not a precondition.
I think in this instance, it can also relate.
That was my initial question to you, right?
Yeah.
If it's a defined term,
Yeah.
one,
It's not a
capitalized,
It's not defined.
capitalized or otherwise, it's an article, right, that you have to respond to. But if it's qualified, then it's either a precondition or it's not.
The other point is that qualified does appear elsewhere in the charter. Into the discussion of the RTM, it talks about them being elected and qualified. So
There is, I
So
think somewhere
in that
here,
auspice, is it a precondition as well?
somewhere in here that they describe qualified as like being a resident. There's a couple of things, and I can't find the section, but I'm pretty sure, I think it says that about maybe elected officials.
Yeah, but Karen, you're describing a precondition.
Yeah, I guess, although you could get elected and then move, I suppose, or something, but.
So,
Then you wouldn't be qualified.
Well, yeah.
So I guess I'm having
That's
trouble
why,
with it.
that's why, I'm confused, Chair. That's why I asked the question the first time.
Yeah. No. Well, I'm confused the difference between, I won an election and I'm gonna be sworn in a week and I get cold feet and they say no. Or I won an election and I'm gonna be sworn in a week after I'm qualified and get cold feet.
So Karen, you're thinking about qualification.
Maybe,
So there is a section in the RTM section about the qualification of RTM members.
just RTM, okay, yeah.
Well,
That's what this is, yeah.
yeah, but I don't know that that's the same term as elected and qualified, which seems to be a statutory term that deals with elections.
Okay.
And Jason, do we have the definition of qualified in the statute, or it doesn't, it's just loosely described?
There's no definition. I mean, you have the preconditions that you're aware of, right? You have to be
Right.
old, you have to be an elected,
Yeah.
all those sorts of things. But you just described a situation where it could be a postcondition, like you're elected and you move out of town. Well, now you're no longer qualified, right?
Yeah.
So.
But that could happen 2 years into your term too.
Yeah, I guess
No,
that's.
but Chair, then it's a precondition.
I think, and that's, I think, addressed somewhere in the RTM section, like if you move.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't we just?
Which has happened.
Why don't we just say something on the lines that the term will start on the third Monday in November? I think we have to add in after their election. I do think we have to add that back in. And shall continue until the third Monday in November after the next regular municipal
Well,
election.
The thing about after their election, that was what Betsy really wanted to change. because
Right.
That created the impossible situation of the RTM has to have a meeting on the night that they're all being sworn in.
Which
Is that
happens.
what that, was that what?
That's why she wanted to, and so the way it used,
Well, I guess
the
my
way
point is-
the way it used to be is
Yeah, that's right.
the RTM members, everyone will be sworn in the third Monday in November. But then the way the Secretary of State started interpreting this is that it's the third Monday after the election, which was usually the fourth Monday, right? It has to be the fourth Monday.
Yeah.
And that's when
Because it's the first
RTM
Tuesday, yeah.
Right, and that's when the RTM has to have their meeting,
The organizational meeting.
because you have to have an organizational
I
meeting.
guess my point is not the term after the election, but the third Monday in November doesn't refer to a year. I mean, you could interpret that as that it's an annual term as opposed to a 2-year term. So my point is, I think we have to define it, like tie it to that when they're elected somehow, you know, does that make sense?
Well, but elections are always the first Tuesday in November.
Right,
and
but
that's
RTM
fixed,
is
and so is the
2 years.
third Monday.
Well, right, but the first, that their term starts, commence on the third Monday in November of what year?
It's a 2-year
The election year, but
Right.
we don't say that.
And this provision also applies to not
oh,
just RTM
oh.
members, but to all elected officials.
Right. So I think we have to define it to an
That's
election
true.
year in some way. I
So
mean,
you
not
don't
really-
tie it to an election, but you say, you qualify that it's an election year.
I mean, it could
Something
say
like
the
that.
third Monday in November.
Would work.
The November of an election year,
or
In
that.
which they were elected or something.
Yeah.
in which they were
That's what I'm
elected.
talking about, that's something like that.
Maybe you can propose some language so we can look at it.
And then,
Elected.
That's a good point.
I mean, on the elected and qualified, I mean, I'm kind of inclined just to leave elected and qualified, but.
I mean, listen, I want to be respectful of Commissioner Blanco because it really doesn't mean anything if we can't define the word, right? And, you know,
Or you could just to make it a defined term, Chair.
What is the definition?
so you put it, add a sentence, say yeah, but what the heck does qualified mean?
Well,
I mean,
well, that's the whole point.
all
We
the
just go
stuff that
back,
you-
not to go round and round. It's either a precondition
Yeah,
or it's not. And if it's not a precondition, there's another
Yeah, it's
standard
defined.
that's no, there's another standard that would be applied to
yeah.
validate whatever process you're trying to undertake, right?
Yes, but what is that process?
But it may.
So, well, no,
That has to be defined.
I think Phil just said it. I think Phil, it's in and what Eric said, it's in the election year.
Well-
So you tie it back to the election year that individual got elected.
Well, we're standardizing when the new term commences. And we have the term length. So Jason just said, well, why don't we just delete, and shall continue? Just delete that whole part.
Okay.
we've already defined 2 years.
And now we've defined the day by
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
Third
yeah.
Monday. Third Monday.
In which they were
Monday,
elected.
So that's when it ends.
Good point,
That's a
because
good, that's a good way to do it, Jason.
Oh, okay.
I like it.
That's a good way.
But
I like.
doesn't that get back to your question before, that I get elected on the first Tuesday and the next day I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. I mean, so that means then someone has to be appointed
And you have a
and
vacancy.
you have a vacancy, okay.
And then you have another election.
I mean, but actually, if you don't want to get sworn in, I think it goes to the next, at that point, it goes.
I think it goes to the next elected,
Yeah,
who had the next number of
You're
votes.
trying to get sworn in. If you get sworn in and resign, then it's filled through.
Then,
the-
yeah. Oh, no, I think you're right. If you haven't been, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. It would go to the next number of vote
That
getters.
actually.
That happened.
It happened,
Wasn't it Gerber's?
2023.
Wasn't it Gerber's race? Well, it was,
No,
it was the year Gerber, no, the year Gerber got voted out, it was that year, it was
It
somebody.
was, well, it happened this past year with one of the.
Oh, this past year, okay.
In 2023, yeah. The last RTM election, there was somebody that declined to serve and then it went to the next person.
Okay, so I guess I'll make a motion. Paragraph 2.3, D, and there's only one no, sorry, on the last sentence, remove the words "and shall continue until their successors have been elected and qualified," or whatever we've changed it to prior to this particular vote.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Trish. Do you have any other discussion?
Yeah, we could also, I don't know if we want to put this in the same thing, but we were going to add in which they were elected after November.
Good point.
So I could propose that amendment to
Okay.
your
Okay, so now we'll add after, so we'll delete all the words after November and add the words, in the year in which elected. Is that what we said, in which?
Something like that.
So we'll say, and the RTM shall commence on the third Monday in November of the year in which they are elected.
That's good.
In the year, sorry. I had it, I lost it.
Well, in November of the year in which they were elected.
In which, yeah.
Period.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. 500 approved. Now are we done unless Jason can find some other thing to come up with?
Jason,
I appreciate your inputs. You know, I'm just kidding, Attorney
I
Buck.
didn't want to touch that one again, but.
Yeah, no,
I think Betsy will be happy with that. So.
Yeah.
these attorneys.
Anything that doesn't make us come back and have this discussion again, I'll be perfectly happy with.
Amen. I second that.
Agenda item number 8, discussion on any other open CRC topic. I don't think there are, but I will defer to my vice chairman if there's anything on the big list that we've.
Well, what I was doing, I was filtering according to required to discuss, so it was on the first selectman or the town clerk's list.
Yep. Oh,
And then it's follow-ups required. So I have 4 items still. Now, one of those is WPCA, that's tomorrow.
Yep.
Then there's 3 other ones where we may have covered them, but I just want to go back. So we have the, so advisory bodies, that was the one where we were just confused on what Bill was asking for. Like, we just never
So,
really-
so this is the question, because this actually came up because there was I had to give an opinion about whether somebody could serve on the RTM and the Economic Development Commission. And because of how the charter reads, it actually is permitted, and it's one of the few times you can have somebody serve in a dual role, and it's because the Economic Development Commission, it's an advisory commission. It just makes recommendations. It doesn't actually decide things. So that's what prompted Bill to suggest this, that we define advisory. I don't know how you guys would go about doing that, especially at this point. I mean,
And there's others like that, right? Maybe.
I think the board advisory has a meeting. It depends on, whether they have the ability to make actionable decisions. And they don't have a budget, that board is one of the few that all they can do is, they have no power by statute or ordinance to actually do anything. They just make recommendations.
And that board is not in the charter.
It's not.
Are there any?
So and the reason this came up is in the section on RTM members and their qualification, it allows RTM members to serve on a permanent board or commission if that permanent board or commission is an advisory one. It uses the word advisory. The charter. So,
like this new advisory board, it's a program management advisory board or something. What was it?
Capital planning? No, what
I
program?
thought there was a new advisory board that Bill created just recently.
That's staffing of the
yeah,
program.
you might think about staffing. There are other
Oh,
advisory
maybe,
boards,
yeah.
like the bike and pedestrian. That's an advisory board.
Okay.
Everything I do is advisory.
Should
Never
we,
have a budget.
should we
Right.
define, make it a defined term since it's used there and say that means a board that has no voting power or is it not, it's not that straightforward, is it?
I think we have to do kind of an analysis of what are boards that might fall into that now, and does it make sense, and do you want to,
Yeah.
Well, so
and honestly, this issue has only come up once, and it really can only apply to a couple of different boards. You can't, very clearly, you couldn't be on, the RTM and conservation, or some other board where they
Right.
actually have real not to minimize economic development, but they actually have responsibilities and can actually take actionable decisions.
Which are most of the ones in the charter generally are that.
Yeah,
Right, all of them.
And by ordinance,
Yeah.
like Fair TV is created by ordinance, that commission, that's not an advisory body, that has real
Oh,
authority.
no, they have a budget, they have everything,
They have
yeah.
everything, they make decisions on programming, they have
right.
real authority.
Like what other advisory
I was on
type?
I was on WAFAT.
Forestry, I think could be advisory.
Forestry, can we have one, okay?
I don't-
Sustainable Fairfield.
So, I mean, what's Mary's on? Bike and pedestrian is definitely advisory.
Okay.
Is land acquisition?
You know, I was
Yeah.
thinking about that. That
Land
might be advisory.
I think it is advisory. They don't have any real power. They have
Yeah,
to,
they just make recommendations.
Just make
about land to
recommendations.
acquire.
Yeah.
So,
And there's already an existing opinion that the RTM can go on those.
well,
That's in
the charter says it, that it's advisory. So then the opinion I had to give was basically to, I mean, interpret the different definitions, fit them together, and then the part that was more opinion is what is an advisory commission?
Like this one is advisory, this one's not.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
in my view, economic development's advisory, so.
Got it.
back to this list though. Okay, so let me just make one point about advisory boards, bodies. So, this will be in my write-up for tomorrow, right? Let's not forget, if we get through all of this and do our thing on 5-1 and everything's cool and it gets passed along to the Board of Selectmen, it's certainly within the first selectman's purview to say, by the way, I'm not gonna sign this unless you define advisory bodies. And at that point, then I guess we'll define, right? So there's, as much as I hate to say the words, there is another
I mean,
iteration, right?
you guys have already considered that. We've already given it consideration.
We've considered it, right?
That's right.
Right. Just so I'm clear on these things, defined terms, what was our stipulation on town office? I
So
thought we ruled on that, right?
you guys have acted on that one.
We did, okay, that's where I wasn't clear.
And we determined,
You did not
Not.
change it, correct?
okay. And then the terms of office, we definitely acted upon, because standardize all the 4 years, that was the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Finance going to 4 years, and we voted against that. That means excluding RTM, I think, right? When he says standard to all, I said, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only thing he's talking about is the Board of Finance.
Well, based on our discussion, we had said at some point, we might want to come back and look at, can we increase constable to 4 years, which I think we found out is defined in.
It's a state statute.
Yes, that it's 2 years,
Yeah.
I think.
Pretty sure.
And then we were gonna talk
I didn't think he
about-
was talking about constable when he wrote that, but.
No, I don't know, that was based on our discussion.
I just want to make sure I'm clear when I answer all of these, write these things down tomorrow night. So just on this document that I'm going to create tomorrow, I cannot vouch for what time it could be done. It might be done, I might come here an hour early and finish it right here. So what I'll try to do is complete it earlier than that and give everyone hard copies, and we can maybe walk through it, or maybe we can just do it on the screen if I don't get to get hard copies. Does that work for everyone?
Yeah.
I know Commissioner Blanco, you're not going to be here tomorrow night, but does that make sense to you?
Okay, so then really the last one I think is WPCA, which is tomorrow.
Yep. And that'll be, I'm gonna put, we've addressed and considered and acted upon that.
And then-
WPCA?
WPCA and WPCF, I mean,
Will have, right?
there's gonna be something in there that's
Yeah.
different and better than it is today. And I think that's,
Yeah, you guys will have a change to it.
there'll be a change, so I don't think it's a big stretch to write that we're gonna act on that, so,
Yeah.
That's true.
so.
So if we can just go look at this now, this is now filtered
Betsy?
by all follow-ups. Yeah, if you scroll up to the top.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, okay. So I'm not saying we have to address these, but these are the ones that in theory we have not or need to come back to. So commonalities, we're not gonna do.
Yep.
So we're just
I'm
gonna say
good with that one.
we're done.
Police
right?
Commission, number 19 has been addressed.
Yeah, so now we've done that. Okay. WPCA, we know that.
Yeah.
So
Voting hours
now
for.
in Fire Commission, did we address the commissioner's input? Sorry, I'm trying to remember.
We have.
It's for like
We've
the
addressed all the
second
inputs. We've addressed and incorporated all her inputs.
round? Okay,
And then the only input that we have addressed them all, the only one that we haven't taken verbatim is the contiguous county thing. Well, we have considered it, obviously, ad nauseum.
Got it, okay. And ignoring kind of new inputs for a minute, we'll come back to those, but the town treasurer, we're just not gonna address that. That was, we kind of really just addressed that.
Is that was an
That
internal?
was something
Oh,
we had talked about.
Yeah,
It was on
yeah.
the initial benchmarking. It was one elector.
Yep,
But the fact, to me, the fact that the fiscal officer can serve as the town, or essentially allows.
That was a
it to
good-
be
that was a good
kind of
catch.
eliminated in a
That's a
way.
good
I mean,
catch,
from
yeah.
a cost perspective, it allows it to be eliminated because it's like dual hatted. That's, I'm comfortable.
well, the
with that.
treasurer's not a paid function, right? Is it volunteer?
I think it's volunteer.
I think it
Oh,
is
is
too.
it?
Oh.
Typically.
We certainly don't talk about their compensation in the charter, so I think if they were paid, the charter would have to say how we pay them, wouldn't it? Oh, no, I guess
well,
it
mean,
doesn't.
the town officer's compensation is set by the board of selectmen, but
I guess-
I don't think, at least as far as I can remember, I don't think it's been.
I don't think it's I think it's a volunteer
I
position.
think though, like they sign bonds or something. I mean, they do some kind of significant.
There's kind of a,
stuff, I think.
I want to say supervisory, it's more of an advisory function, I think.
Oh, okay.
That might be the one thing that I regret, is not going through that, but.
Well, then at least the first selectman can decide, or person can change that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then the bonds, the official bonds, there was the question. In 2022, they removed that official bond section. And Chris, you were really interested in making sure like we didn't lose that. So I don't think we've done anything to it. We haven't changed it. I don't know if there is a need to change. We've never moved back and said.
You know what section that is? I
I
mean,
have no idea.
it's right up front, I know. Is it in, it's not in his email either, I don't think, is it? All I know is that when we heard about this being deleted, both Commissioner Wackerman and I had a visceral reaction to it, remembering what we remembered, so that's what makes me not wanna,
5.3.
thank you. The town clerk, the town treasurer, tax collector, building official, and such other officers or officials as may be required to do so by the Board of Selectmen shall, before entering upon their respective official duties, execute to the town the form prescribed by the town attorney, and file with the town clerk a surety company bond and a penal sum to be fixed by the selectmen. Condition upon faithful performance of such official duty, as premium such a bond shall be paid by the town.
Yeah, that seems a little antiquated. I don't know. Does
Why
it,
would-
do
why
we,
would we pay, why would the town pay for that?
well, why would they have to
Premium.
give them even? It's when they're employees, I don't know. Do you know if other towns required the town clerk and some other building official people to get bonds in favor of the town? Surety bonds? It feels like it's kind of antiquated, but.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is different than I thought. Oh, yeah, okay. This is literally saying the town clerk has gotta go out and get a surety bond before she starts her official,
Yeah.
yeah.
It seems unnecessary, and I can't believe they do it now, probably, but I don't know. Any sense of whether you've seen that before in other town things, or?
Has everything been the budget, in the Board of Finance budget? Because apparently the town would pay for the premiums.
Definitely not a town clerk's budget.
And a penal sum to be fixed by the select persons, I bet they.
I was gonna say, when was the last time we did that? Never.
Yeah, so maybe that's why it was deleted, because people, in the last proposal.
Yeah. I guess we were assuming it was like bonds, like.
I thought it was surety bonds for, if you were going to come into town and build a building, we would require you to have a surety bond, not the, you know.
Yeah.
I'm ready to put a big X through it, to be perfectly honest with you, right now, unless
Unless you,
our attorneys want to sleep on it and give us a ruling tomorrow. Well, it'll be you, Phil, because Jason won't be here.
I mean,
I don't believe you. What are your thoughts?
I mean, we would have to research it. I would just leave it alone for tomorrow.
I don't, I mean, I wouldn't want to have it For the final version, I think we probably definitely want to take it out unless we have to have it. Maybe, I don't know.
Can we figure it out by tomorrow if we're doing this? How about this? Can we figure out if we're even doing it right now? Because if we're not doing it right now, I'm really put a big extra.
Well,
Want me to call Betsy right now and ask her what her surety bond is? She's like, what?
I don't know if she is at the town clerk.
Oh, I'm kidding, but I mean, well, actually, I'm not kidding, but.
There probably was discussion and maybe even research about it in 2022.
You know something,
Took it out.
you know, the one thing that Attorney Nednick did in painful detail is annotate everything in footnotes.
True.
Oh, shit, but it's deleted, so it probably,
Deleted the footnotes?
no, he deleted the,
Oh, yeah.
if he deleted something, would there be a footnote that says I deleted it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, goodness. Oh, gosh, I can't read. And I don't know if I have his version readily available to do a word search on here. What was it, 5.3 you said?
Yeah.
5.1. 5.2.
Well, they definitely.
Oh, here it is. Repeal of previous Article 5.3 derived from modification of Chapter 2, Paragraph 9 of the 1947 Act and 1957 Act, Chapter 2, Paragraph 9 of the 1975 Charter, and Article 5, 5.3 of the 1997 Charter.
Well, that just refers to the charter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That just, it's like a
reason.
chronology. 2022 repeal of previous.
Oh, yeah? Maybe they're out of date too.
When was the last time they did theirs over?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a lot of footnotes, holy mackerel.
Yeah, it's not great. So they're saying that basically that.
I mean, you guys could just add like that same language about to the extent required by law or something like that if you wanted to.
Do we do
Cover
that?
you.
198.
I mean, they're describing it as anybody who's, collecting fees and
This is,
responsible for funds.
the way I read the current charter, it's anybody who touches money.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, it's the
I don't know why.
It's the town clerk, it's the town treasurer, it's the tax collector, well, building official. Like it's
Actually, there's a statute on tax collector bonds.
Oh.
Which makes sense.
a statute.
Yeah. But also it does, I mean, there is a logic to people that are receiving funds from the public to have bonds.
Yeah. So maybe we should say to the extent required by law, like you
Well,
said.
but then if there's no, I mean, if there is no statute on, I mean, I'm not seeing one on town clerk bonds.
Well,
But if the policy decision has been that those types of people should have bonds, then
Yeah.
you
But
guys
if-
can make
Although
that
they
decision.
They took it out.
But if there's a statute that
Right.
requires it, and we take it out of the charter, the statute still requires it.
Correct. Right.
So,
But
Right,
it
so
doesn't
if-
affect everyone else in Connecticut, so that doesn't necessarily apply.
If you take it out of the charter and you're not specifically referencing it, then the
Statute applies.
default applies, which would be the statute.
But I see what you're saying, it's a policy decision.
It seems that way, because you're
Right.
having
It was
certain
a-
officials required to do it.
Well, like Parks and Rec takes in money, right?
Well, yeah, they probably taken a lot more money than town clerk, to be perfectly honest with you, physically touching money. I mean, when you talk about conveyance tax, that's kind of done through an external process, but physically touching money, yeah.
Very good point.
this is around essentially a surety bond, like for fraud.
I would assume.
Right,
I'm-
that's how it's described.
Like I said, when I read off that list, I thought, well, this is all people who touch money. But and again, building official, because there's,
No, but inland wetlands and the permitting,
Permitting,
zoning, I mean,
But-
forestry, we sell trees, we take in money,
Yeah,
tree warden. I mean, there's that, like, no lack of people touching money.
But we have an ethics ordinance, an ethics policy. We have also an internal auditor. And granted, those wouldn't necessarily recover money, but it could essentially address the issue. The surety bond would in theory enable the recovery of stolen money? Is that what that would do?
yeah.
It's like a insurance.
Mhm.
See, if this were against fraud, then I don't understand why it says premium for such bonds will be paid by the town. So we're paying you so you don't fraud.
It's like an insurance
Oh,
policy.
but then you'd be requiring.
Oh, I guess that's true, right?
You're requiring that.
Even if there's if there's an
Yeah.
assumption of impropriety, right? Yeah.
I'd be inclined to get rid of it. I mean, just like if it defaults to the statute and the statute requires it for tax collector or something, great.
We should see if it's even being done.
Yeah.
I would just even be curious. How is it being
I
done?
almost would text
You guys don't know about
I
it
did.
in the budget, like.
I know, I don't
I
think.
texted her.
Okay.
I said, I want to see your surety bond.
He's gonna be like,
No, I said, do you have a surety bond as town clerk?
He's at some kind of
At least as it
meeting.
relates to.
I want you to produce it for me now.
Haven't, right?
It was, at least as it relates to town clerk, it looks like there used to be a statute that was repealed
Oh, okay.
that dealt with a bond of a town clerk.
Could be true for a lot
And
of,
it's-
and
It might be,
When was that
so.
repealed?
1956.
You just delete it if the statute requires it.
I make a motion that we delete paragraph 5.3, official bonds, in its entirety.
second.
Seconded by Commissioner Treshik. Any further discussion?
I'd like to find out if it's being done. If it's a requirement in the charter, we should be doing it. So where's the money? Follow the money.
that's a good, we could find out before tomorrow night. This we could find out. I'll make myself responsible to just see if it's being done, because that means there are people who think it is worth doing, right, I guess?
Wouldn't be the only thing in this charter that we're not doing currently, but, okay.
Yeah.
So you want me to hold my, I'll,
Till tomorrow?
renege, what's the word I'm looking for? Getting late. Retract, thank you. I'll retract my motion in the second, I'm assuming. Okay. That addresses everything, I think.
And there were a few more recommendations. I'm guessing we may not choose to act on them.
I'm gonna make this, I'm not going to address voting hours for referendum. I don't think, first off, I don't think that would be something we would put into a charter, because we don't have voting hours for a normal election in the charter.
Well, the voting hours are in the charter.
For an election?
For a referendum,
They are?
Yeah.
Really?
yep. And
Sure as I
his
know.
point is that they're shorter than normal hours.
Oh, well, that doesn't.
Because normal hours, what, start 6 AM?
I,
And the referendum starts at noon.
Oh, they should be early, because people go to work.
Oh, I'm supposed to have in the tax collector, but I think HR gets them for us and keeps them on file. They've never been filed with me, even though the charter says so.
Oh,
I retract my motion.
Oh, so we
so
should.
what was the first, she said the tax collector is supposed to.
Her, town clerk and tax collector.
The town clerk, maybe she doesn't know it was,
Yeah, maybe.
No, but the charter.
Oh, because of
says
the
it,
charter.
right? So-
Oh, maybe she's saying she needs to have it, okay.
But if we
Yeah.
took away that, then you can save the town some money.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not very much money.
Possibly, unless you need a surety bond,
Yeah.
and you're not saving money.
So she thinks she's
Who,
supposed,
who asked for, where did this request come from?
he
Which one?
texted Betsy.
No, the request on your.
Bill
list of
Gerber.
Bonds, Bill did, okay.
Yeah, that was.
Bill sent us a set, now, this is not part of his official statement, it was in an email that he submitted to the website, and he said, by the way.
Okay.
Oh, and, sorry, because it came up in our discussion, and he listened to our meeting, and he said, oh, don't be so quick to just go, delete that, or to not delete it, even though no, sorry. I said something about, I think we really need to have it, and he said, well, don't be so quick to judge, because 2022 commission took it out. So there must be some reason they took it out. Let's see.
So we'll vote, I guess we'll figure that out tomorrow, but the referendum, 13.2, C,
The errors and omissions is
For
the
any-
thing that I'm a little.
for any referendum, the polls should be opened at 12 o'clock noon and be closed at 8 o'clock in the evening, but the hours may be increased at the discretion of the Board of Select Persons. So the hours are defined.
What that section is doing is, it's unnecessary in the charter, but all that is a summary. That's what the statute says.
It just mimics the statute, right?
So the statute on the referendum voting is 12 to 8, and then the selectmen.
Got it.
I don't know what you guys do, but usually selectmen then extend the hours.
That's the common practice. Got it.
When was the last time we had a referendum
Exactly.
separate from an election, a normal election? I can't remember one.
I think it was like probably 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was one on funding at some point.
But you don't need that.
Yeah.
You don't need that? Because it's.
I mean, I don't even think I lived here at the time. It was probably like.
I don't remember ever voting in a referendum. I remember voting on referendum questions during a regular election, but
Yeah.
never a specific referendum. So. Okay, so there are a couple things that we're, so if you don't mind checking that.
Yeah, I will.
Especially
The
that
HR
errors and
comment
omission.
Helps, HR may be a good place to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll call Kathy.
Okay.
Okay, great. Are you all set?
Well, yes, unless we want to go over these last ones, which we don't have to.
RTM ethics code, again, we've talked ad nauseam about an ethics code that is applied to the RTM. And a FOIA, establish a FOIA advisory board. I would say that if we really needed a FOIA advisory board, it could be done through an ordinance, thank you, and go into the town code rather than in the town charter. And the removal of policy-making authority of the Parks and Rec. I don't know what policy-making authority Parks and Rec has. So I'm a little clueless what that means.
Where's Parks and Rec? Is that in like section 10?
Is deciding what changes to make to things policymaking? I don't really know what the.
I know, if I can, which is the section? Which one are you talking about?
It would probably be under 1010, Parks and Rec Commission.
I mean, they have rulemaking.
I was gonna say, sorry. It says, "The Parks and Rec Commission shall be the policy-making body for the Parks and Rec Department." So, does that mean, policy could be, how much are we gonna charge for Penfield Pavilion? Right? I mean, that's probably what else would the,
But they're saying don't make it the commission doing that, maybe let the department do it. I think that's
Well,
what they're saying.
it looks like Mr. Brown's intent is that maybe it's too incestuous having the Parks and Rec Commission be responsible for the Parks and Rec, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but.
I think currently it makes it more, it's a public body that's involved.
Right.
So,
I guess if it weren't them, who would it be? Who would be making that, who would, because I'm trying to think, I know they set, again, it's kind of foolish to say, but how much is it gonna cost for Jackie Durrell Pavilion? How much is it gonna charge for Penfield and those kind of things? I don't think they're making sweeping policy decisions about the town, but.
It's sort of like planning and zoning, right? They do the planning policies as well as execute. I mean, I don't think it's unusual for commissions to have.
yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what Michelle envisions for the language on WPCA. It's kind of what she was.
Church and state kind of thing, right? Yeah, with WPC and WPCF kind of thing.
One defines policy, one implements policy.
Yeah, right, yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm good with everything else on this list if everyone else is.
Arthritis, oh.
Yeah, no, it is. Bad shoulder, and that's just basically everything, so. Okay. Let's see. Discussion and next meeting topics, well, certainly we don't need to talk about that, that's tomorrow night, and then we said, so if you look on the website, all the agendas for tonight tomorrow night, and the 1st are already posted. And just keep in mind that the public session on 5/1 is at the fire training section, center, thank you, so that we can accommodate the throngs of people that are gonna come in and tell us how good a job we did.
Jan Leeper is gonna put it in her newsletter. I haven't heard back from her. That was smart. I want to thank you guys for your leadership and your organizational abilities have really made this happen, don't you think?
Yes, definitely.
Appreciate that.
Got a lot done.
You guys did a lot of really good work.
Without,
Thank you very much. That's very, I appreciate all your support.
I know.
Chris, I'm not planning to attend the public hearing.
I don't think you need to.
Yeah.
That's good anyway, because if something comes up, you could have time to.
I like a little plausible deniability. I gotta go back to the town attorney and ask him because, I'm being serious.
Also, that meeting's not like it's not a debate with the public, I mean.
No, this is comment. This is not.
They're there to receive comments, so there's not necessarily a response.
We can ask clarifying questions. If-
Yeah.
Well, if somebody says, I don't like section 5, can you
Why?
elaborate? Right, yeah. What I don't want is for somebody to say, I hate section 5 and I see the town attorney's here, I'd like him to tell him what he interprets that to be. That's what I don't want.
I don't think I would have any role in that meeting.
No, I agree.
Just a question before I close this document down. The boards and commissions are covered by the code of conduct and everything we have related to ethics in the charter, right? And as is the RTM. So there's no reason to add extra ethics requirements for boards and commissioners or.
I wouldn't think so.
We're covered, right?
I feel like the Ethics Commission is equally applied to everyone,
Oh,
right?
the Ethics Commission is. I
Well,
mean,
no, the ethics, or the ordinance, well, I'm sorry, the code of
Code of conduct.
And,
I think that's equally applied too, no?
That is equally applied, but we're doing an ordinance to expand on it.
Right.
But yeah, it does apply to everybody.
yeah, so there's not a gap. I'm just trying to address
Right,
the
there's not a
feedback. Like, I
gap.
don't, like, boards and commissioners are subject to it. They don't have to sign a statement.
Right.
Oh,
They're still
so I mean,
subject.
that's I think one of the retirement boards, the employee retirement board, the ordinance requires the members to sign a conflict of interest statement.
Yeah.
That concept could be what drove that comment.
Got
I
it,
don't know if
okay.
it is, but there is a statement that members of that board have to sign about conflicts of interest.
Actually, a lot of other towns, some other towns have that for RTM and every elected official. I think that's a hard sell for volunteer people because like for lawyers, you'd have to, they want you to disclose all kinds of things. But, so that is a possible thing that we'll probably talk about with the ethics ordinance, but, and that might be what they're talking about, I don't know.
But the way we've discussed the ethics and code-related items in the charter, they apply to boards and commissions and apply to the RTM.
Yes.
So
Right,
there is coverage. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Great. Just one thing, so Commissioner Blanco, you're not gonna be here tomorrow night. I just want to get your sense of the body. Are you genuinely in favor of pushing this document forward if we do the right things tomorrow night?
Absolutely.
All right, that's all I gotta hear. I'll take a motion to adjourn. Oh, sorry, there's no public comment.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if it's public comment.
Sorry, public comment, there's no one here. That's it. Motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Commissioner Wackerman, seconded by Commissioner Hoke. All in favor?
Aye.
0-0.
night.
Thank you.
So I just got notices that Fairfield